What's up, everybody? Good evening. If
Yep.
you're in the States, good morning. If you're in Europe, and I have no idea where you're in China, what time zone is right there. We got a good host of panel today. We'll introduce first the godfather of fucking smokes himself, NarT.
Hello, I am Scuffnade King. Hi, everybody.
This time I'll pronounce his name correctly. It's FaZe.
Yeah, you got me.
Hey, give me a round of applause.
Yeah.
We got.
It only took you 2 episodes, but yeah.
Goddamn right, man. I'm a little sober, so we're all good. We have AnThran.
Ah! Yeah.
Him making some generic sex sounds, but it's all good. We got YouM3.
I'm not supposed to react to this, am I? So
You can react to anything you want.
Yeah.
And we got CS Pro himself, malbs.
What's up? What's up, everyone?
We're gonna first start off with the obvious, Cologne.
It's a piece of makeup.
Where do you
Is
want
a-
to start? You
it-
want to start the
it-
playoffs, or you want to
Makeup!
start the
We're
finals?
gonna start with the Wikipedia page on what cologne is. It's a
Oh.
fragrance. No,
Like
we're
a
talking
cathedral.
about-
Sorry,
We're talking-
fragrance.
fragrance. Yes, we're talking about. We'll start off the playoffs. We'll go in the quarterfinals first.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure.
Before we begin this, Mobs, where are you right now?
I'm at my girlfriend's house.
Like like what part of the world?
Ah.
I don't know. It's like
Guatemala. I'm in Guatemala.
Nice.
Guatemala?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back home.
Back,
Yeah.
How's the weather?
Right now, it's cool.
Robot.
Yeah.
All right. NarT, we're gonna start. You want to start with
Yeah, we can start with Mouse Astralis. I'll pull it up
yeah,
here.
start with Mouse Astralis, yeah.
I mean, going into this match here, you know, both teams were pretty even, and like they're both in like the same like situation where they're both struggling, and then the game was probably like 50-50. Let's see. Let's look at it went 2-1 in favor of Astralis, with both teams winning their map choice of Mirage by Mouse, Nuke Astralis, and then Ancient 16-12 Astralis. It came down pretty close. Did you guys watch the game?
I did.
I watched the game.
I watched
didn't.
game 2 and 3. I didn't watch the first.
I just have my opinion on the game as a whole, and that is I'm not sure neither team really deserved to be there. That's my humble opinion. That's my incendiary opinion.
I don't know. I looked when I was watching that game. I felt like just being there meant more than actually winning it. Because if we're
Yeah.
keeping it real, like whoever won that match was kind of just going on to get their shit kicked in by NaVi. Like it
Facts.
wasn't going further. So, and Miles also choked and threw hard CT side. So.
yeah, it was the idea that like Mouse had to beat an IP who I think people had a lot of excitement for coming into it, and then you had who did
Mouse Sports.
Astralis had to beat Cloud9 as well.
I mean,
Yeah.
but the Cloud9 was just like a shell of themselves, I think, going into that event, honestly.
Mouse
Hey,
had
Mouse-
a great run.
Yeah, they had a great run. They beat Heroic. They beat
Yeah,
Vitality.
Mouse's run was
They
actually
took
insane.
a map off NaVi in too. So
Yeah, to beat Vitality as well, which I think
Yeah,
people were really
Heroic.
surprised that they didn't make it through the
Heroic,
playoffs.
Vitality,
So.
Nip. That's a hell of a run.
Yeah, that okay. I'm not. I'll give it up to Mouse. Yeah, they got it there. On the other hand, Astralis had to beat probably a
Yeah, that
very
one-
weak Infuria. I think a Cloud9 that was definitely a shell of themselves, kind of looking at their form across other matchups in that event.
Yeah.
And then they got their shit kicked in by FaZe and NaVi. So like it wasn't really okay. They came close with FaZe and a little
like,
close with
You knew
NaVi, but
FaZe had that map like in control. They didn't have like.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were never gonna lose that.
Yeah.
I think the important thing to note with at least Mouse at the very least is that I think this is, while people are going to look back at the older version of Mouse and think like, oh, degster had better pieces like Acor and Rops, and he still couldn't make it work, and now he's making it work with like younger players or less experienced players. I don't think that those old stars actually gave like their best for degster as an in-game leader, because it's his first time calling in the European version of Counterstrike. He doesn't really have the same sort of pull or, I guess, reputation to leverage against these star players, or even these players that realistically are just better mechanically than he is. But now he has, like, as much as I don't even believe that much in the JDC side of this project, but at least he has players that are like moldable, or I think will have less of an ego to challenge what he's calling in these mid-round moments, because I think when it comes down to it, when you have like Bemis and Frozen, they have the individual capacity to succeed. So does Torzy as well. So I think when it comes down to it, this MAUs, it's a good look for them. You know, being in the quarterfinals in the first place, they didn't. I don't think we expected them to go much further, but overall, I think we're satisfied with them even putting up a fight against Astralis, who I think for all intents and purposes have the better firepower.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I think a big problem with MAUs is that they expect Bemis to be a star, and he's kind of like not. So I think that's like a big issue with them right now. There's not enough star power. Like you've got Frozen, obviously, right? Then you've got everybody else who picks up pieces every now and then, but there isn't, I feel, other than Frozen, somebody consistently putting in the work enough for MAUs to find that success that they need. And I think that's also what happened in like on the stage. Like if you saw versus Astralis, especially in that last map, Bemis didn't do anything. Like,
yeah,
Malbs is the solution. There you go, done.
Free.
Star player right here.
Yeah. Any thoughts on like the mouse stuff that's been going on? Malbs, like, were you watching any of them?
Being honest, I've been like kind of offline of those. Like,
yeah.
I didn't even watch the event, being honest. So
you gotta freaking decompress some CSGO. I understand that.
You play it so much you hate it. I get it.
Yeah, that's something too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you guys think about BLIX calling Mirage instead of Glaive? Going back from Complexity, you know, that was their best map, and BLIX was IGLing there. And then during that time, Astral's permaban was Mirage. So Glaive gave the reign over to Blame to call Mirage.
I wouldn't even be surprised if that's what they could do going forward. Like, I feel like Astralis was always one of those teams that was innovating things.
I just think it's simply like, first off, Glaive has a kid. BlameF doesn't have those commitments. So we understood that to a certain degree, Blame would have this secondary in-game leading responsibility, even outside of maps like Mirage. Like, Blame has always been, I think, from an optics point of view, a very hard worker. So if there's any slack that needs to be picked up, he's going to pick it up. And if that is going to be the expansion to the map pool, and they are going to pick into Mirage, it makes sense. Like, it means that Glaive doesn't have to feel uncomfortable almost always divvying up responsibilities to BlameF consistently. Instead, just let him have first call, and if there's a roadblock that Blame runs into, then Glaive can be that secondary. I think that just shows that there's at least a good amount of trust between these two in-game leaders that are trying to share the reins to a certain degree, because Blame has stepped out of the spotlight in that degree. Like, he's given up that responsibility.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Yumi. BlameF went on, like, I can't remember what I was watching, like, during his interviews, where he would say he would put in a lot of time watching demos alongside his coach, Kita. So,
yeah.
Wait, so this guy was calling only Mirage right now?
Yeah, only Mirage at the moment.
I feel
What
like
do you think that means he's going to start taking it over?
I don't think that's good. Ooh. Like, I don't know. Like, they're used to Glaive's way of playing, you know, like calling, and then Mirage just started playing on Blame's style of calling. It's just like weird, I think.
Are you going with the mindset that like they're IGLing is gonna kind of impact other maps?
Yeah, I think that too.
That's what I have a feeling for.
Yeah.
Also, I want to drop this in the main chat to show what, you know, BlameF's Mirage calling looks like. Here's a picture of the stats, which is just, if it doesn't scream happy, then I don't know what a happy, the French
rating.
Yeah, you know, just also, I swear people on Twitter are like going absolutely insane. Like, BlameF, insane opening kill rating. And like the eye test says everything against that, though. Like, it feels like I've seen it. It's just like he goes aggro on the ecos, and when, you know, when M4A4 sounds, he's never there. He's just gone.
That's
I wouldn't prefer to call it the eye test. I'd prefer to call it the I just look at HLTV stats test. So that's the best way you should put it. But I don't like. I mean, you are right. The numbers don't lie. I don't think anybody was going to like questioning whether BlameF is the problem with Astralis or not. I think the more big issue with Astralis is, again, kind of the same thing with MAUs. There's just nobody else there. Like, you've got Zip, who nobody hates him, but if we're speaking realistically here, he shouldn't be there. You've got Glaive, who I feel like is soon just going to be another one of the old heads just filling a spot. Other than that, there's something to be had there in the core, but I do think you need to revamp that roster a little bit if you want to like start bringing back the success they had before, and if you want to make a reason to think that Astralis are going to be contenders again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So, oh, go ahead, Yumi.
So I just think a good move could be even just the fact that like Refresh is removed from Heroic. Like if not for the fact that Zip had signed this long deal with Astralis, if they were comfortable making that move, like you can move Blame and keep Blame in this sort of lurk, people would say baiting sort of role that he has. And you could actually make the roster more aggressive. Like I think that would have been the move that Astralis should have been aiming to do prior to the Zip signing. So that could be a way to elevate, I suppose.
I actually like what you said, your suggestion on that move, because Astralis need an entry fragger. Right now they're using Zipix and Glaive to entry. So they don't really have like a dedicated entry fragger, like a player that's known to entry.
Mm-hmm.
What I was gonna say is regarding AnThran, your case on like the consistent fraggers. Yeah, Blame F has been very consistent ever since he's joined. Config, when he first joined, he had that amazing blast event in Copenhagen. Ever since he's fallen off, and then actually this event he played really well. And then the problem with Astralis is they need that third fragger, right? So maybe,
especially considering I feel like your opera's not doing it.
Yeah.
Farley ain't it. Farley ain't it.
Maybe Device comes back, so
it's crazy because Farley, prior to joining Astralis, actually looked pretty good. Like he was playing a lot more confidently, and it wasn't always that way. Like when he was playing with the Godsent guys, you could tell he was playing like fourth man, third man in on takes. He wasn't really going for picks a lot, and then that felt like there was like this culture shift just after they started to suggest that they were going to remove Crystal. But that confidence that he built up with the Godsent guys feels like it's just deteriorated. Like maybe he doesn't feel like he can voice an action that he wants to suggest for Glaive or Blame, whoever's calling at the moment, to make those moves. Like maybe he just doesn't feel like he has the same kind of pull that he did with the Godsent guys, because when you consider the context, like they built up that Godsent roster kind of from the ground up, from like Smash to I don't know. Crystal went through many different iterations of they went from Godsent to then FPX, but just as they removed Crystal. So yeah, there's a lot of, I think it is a mentality thing with Farley, unfortunately. I think he's in his own head about like his abilities for this team, and when he has bad performances, that's not going to help.
There's also a lot higher expectations when you're playing for Astralis, like when he moved over, right? Than comparing it with like FPX. Astralis, one of the best teams of all times, you know. You're replacing Lucky, you know, they've been looking for a good opper. It's really and Device was there too, you know, so it's really hard to it's a lot of pressure to step up when you're playing for Astralis because of that name.
Call me crazy, call me wild, but I still think Nikodas could have been a good pickup. Look, if you want to rip it, get it out of your system. But I think for Astralis, as I've already said, like the problem is not having that third fragger. And again, he didn't always put up the numbers, but when you looked at the Copenhagen Flames roster and when they made their runs, he was usually there putting up a fight. And I think he also matches the style of Blame F and Config, where they do just want to kind of like put the pressure on. I think he would have been a good offer to do that. He would have felt comfortable trying to have impact, felt comfortable trying to go for big opening kills. And I mean, alongside the fact that we're talking about not having the fragger, you just mentioned comfortability being an issue. I don't think that would have been a problem if you had Nikodas step in.
I agree with you there, because Nikodas, he behind Device, he's probably the best Danish opper, I consider. So he played really good on Copenhagen. I saw a lot of initiative out of him too, like going for his own op peaks, things like that. Anything?
I was waiting for Yumi's rebuttal.
Oh, am I supposed to rebut that? I mean, I can rebut it just because I think, as much as I like Nikodas as an AWPer, I think he struggles in late rounds. This guy, I don't think handles pressure that well. I think we saw it at the, I'm thinking the major just towards the end of 2021. My brain is short-circuiting. Stockholm, yes. We saw it at Stockholm when they ended up in these overtime moments. He missed like critical shots that would have been game-defining. I simply think that he needs more experience. That's just the crux of the issue. I mean, on paper, what you're saying everything Astralis needs. That was what Farlig was touted to be
Mhm.
prior to the move. But he's just not been able to manifest it with this roster. So
I mean, I think it would have been easier to just try to fix those issues with him.
Oh,
You
yeah, it'd
know?
be easier to do it with than
that's
try
a
to-
hindsight kind of answer, though. You know.
Yeah.
Well, of course, but what else am I supposed to say? Like, it didn't happen.
Okay. Real quick. Go ahead. What, were you gonna say something, Fi?
I'm just gonna say Astralis have been kind of nearly a dead team since they've lost Device.
Ah,
They
wait,
lost-
no, I don't.
Not dead,
Yeah.
but they kind of like lost like their like.
They are they are
they're
ultra
full.
mediocre. Is
Yeah,
what I will say.
yeah.
They ain't a dead team, but they
They're
aren't
meh.
out there. They're not making headlines.
They're
They
meh.
were like that way before Device left too.
Thank
they-
you! Thank you!
They were winning they were at least winning an event here or there.
Towards the end of
Even-
Device's
Yeah.
career with them, they were falling.
It was
off.
like they were falling off. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I can't remember what happened. I watched the demos in the series, but I can't remember because of, today. I don't remember what happened in the rest of the series here. Do we just want to move on?
I think we talked.
Yeah, I think we
About
brush it
next-
off their shoulder.
The other series here, Movie Star
Oh.
Writers and Liquid
Oh yeah.
with
Eat your heart out,
man.
Writers 2-1. Dude, Sampaius is so good. He continued his
Yeah.
performance over from the group stage. Like
Farmed.
he came out of nowhere. Like I didn't watch Valencia, so I don't know if he performed there as well.
He did.
He did? Okay. So he carried his performance over into Cologne, and he's one to keep your eye out moving forward after the player break.
Well, I
The
mean,
problem
they
with
talk-
movie star writers, I feel like most people just don't have a grasp on what they're actually going to start doing.
That's like the perfect saying for them because they just won they won Valencia,
Mhm.
shocked in this tournament. Where do they go from now? We gotta see after the break because if they keep the form up, I can kind of see like another top 10 team. They can push semis. They can do stuff like maybe win an event. Who knows if they keep the form up?
You know,
Mm,
after we'll talk about this later, but after after FaZe played movie, Rain was interviewed and he said they play like a very unique playstyle compared to other teams. And when I was watching the demos, it's very like their T sites, they'll attack 2 sites at once, like 2 players on A. Like let's say for Ancient, like 2 players are on A while 3 are attacking B. It's
Yeah.
not the usual,
they're
Like
not
on Vertigo.
scared.
Yeah.
Like on
Simple.
Vertigo, they're going like 3 on B, 2 on A, trying to see what they're gonna. If they get an opening, get a pick or something, and then if it happens, they like throw a fake, and then like go back. Like they do like very like they split it up. They're confident.
I think they're a very pick-based team, unfortunately for them. Like, especially if you watch their T sides. Like, I remember the old version of Movistar, Mopos was like the only person that could entry on that squad. Now they've diversified and actually just gone with the Spanish roster. It feels like there's more confidence in the individuals to just make that work. So it's not just Mopos now. Maybe they've just added this other prong to it because towards the end of that international stint that Movistar did, they actually saw Mopos like kind of fall off. Like Smuya started fragging out pretty heavy, and Mopos was getting like a 1.0 rating if he was lucky, maybe like a 1.05 in a win. It wasn't really that great, but this is not. I don't think it's that new. Like these guys topped their group when it came to ESL Pro League. Like they beat Cloud9. They had wins over. I can't actually remember the group, but they
Didn't they
went
beat G2 there
flawless.
too?
They went flawless
Yeah.
in their group,
5-0.
which was a very big surprise to many at the time. But then after that, they kind of fell off a bit of a cliff. Like a lot of online events that they had to attend, they were placing like 3rd, 4th. They didn't make the major as well in Antwerp. So
They didn't win Challenger League.
yeah, they placed 3rd in that as well, right? So it was one of those things. I think even ahead of Valencia, like they were unsure about what level they would bring. Because I think I remember from some of the interviews there that they were saying like, "Hey man, we're just here to have fun and do it for the home crowd and hope that we can make it work." But something seemed to like click at that event that has allowed them to continue on this run. And it's good to see that Sampaius is actually like a part of that equation, because usually in the big games that's where Sampaius can have some issues. But now it's like if they can get that extra elevation out of the AWPer, as well as the entering that Mopos or maybe the mid-round kills that Deaths can find. This roster is pretty sick with how dynamic they can play.
Alls, do you have any intake on any input on movie star writers?
Also, can I clarify? I think it is Movistar.
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 Like
I'm not
we're
the
adding an
nostalgic
E in
one,
there
I'll
because
say
we
it.
want it to be like Hollywood
We
movie
want to
stars.
be like
Popstar.
goddamn movie star writers, man. But Malls, what? Do you have any input on them?
I just watched like I think the only match I've seen of them is like the Liquid one against Liquid, and I can't really say that Senpai is insane. Like since he wasn't that team where he was before Movistar Riders, I've been following him like since the last year, and I just know he's insane. Like when I was in Team 1, I used to tell Maluki that he was really good. Like I remember that I told him Maluki that this Senpai's guy was really good. I don't remember the name of that team, but it was like Iberian Family or something like that.
Yes.
I
That sounds
I used to
right.
see him since there, and he was insane since then. Yeah, I don't know. Like they're like a great group. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say.
You have to keep out. You just have to keep an eye on them to see how they go moving forward. That's
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the thing is
You-
with Movistars is that with these two performances, we hope that gives them the confidence. You know, we want to see them take that next step, break in the top 15, qualify for the major for the first time.
No, they went to the
Wait,
major,
they already
but-
have. They've qualified the
Yeah,
major
they
twice.
already qualified.
they
They
did?
qualified to the
Okay.
major twice.
No, come on, no.
Oh,
okay,
Nart.
okay, make it the legends or
Make it a legend.
That one's not going in the final cut.
Yeah.
okay, let's move on to Liquid. Yakinder
Just sign them, man.
reports are saying like his teammates are all wanting, him to be signed. So
I mean, it seems pretty kissy to me. Like at first, it kind of just seemed like everybody was coping out the wazoo, like, oh, he's coming, he's just filling in, but he's coming, don't worry. And I thought people were stretching it, but then apparently he wants to stick with them. I think it's good. This is the first good showing we've seen from Liquid in so damn long. Like you think they come out of the gate and lose against Spirit. Old Liquid, I'm thinking, oh, Elysia's tilted. Everybody else is going to probably follow suit. This is not going to go very far. Then they just make a lower bracket run, make it all the way to the quarterfinals. They didn't win, but like still, they did something this
They
event.
could've.
And if you think Yakindar just comes in like maybe a few weeks before, it's obviously going to happen before the announcement that they start practicing together, but this is like barely any time together Liquid making a run at one of the biggest events of the year. I don't think there's anything wrong with Yakindar coming into this roster, and I think it should be encouraged. I think they should be signing that now.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying.
I mean, looking at their opponents, was this an impressive run though?
let's take a look here.
Hmm?
They
Yeah.
played
They played a total of one top
Spirit.
top 5 team.
losing 1-2, beat 0-0 Nation, beat Cloud9, and then beat Furia, and then came close to beating Movistars. I mean,
I
think
I'll
think
say-
Cloud9's still a convincing win.
That event, they looked very weak.
I will say
Um,
though,
Liquid?
anything-
No, Cloud9.
Cloud9.
No tardo.
I don't think you can shit or luck your way into a best of 3 win. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Even if they weren't looking at 100, like still, that's not a game they should be winning. Like you look at almost any one of these teams, and Old Liquid would probably not be winning these games. Like against Furia, maybe they didn't look in form, sure, but I think the problem with saying that this team didn't look in form relies on the results of the team, which for Cloud9, sure, I guess, I mean, you lost to Astralis, but
Falta 5%.
for the both of them, still, I just think this is a really good run and convincing from Liquid. Like, you even think they took a game off of Spirit. The other ones, well, maybe not the first, but it literally went into, like, triple overtime against Spirit on map 3. Like, like there's room to look in here and say this is a really good outlook for Liquid. I don't see a reason why this should be understated. This seems like a decent run to me.
everyone played really, really well. Elige stepped up. Like he's been missing in the previous
That's huge.
previous tournaments. OC especially, he came in clutch, had multiple big clutches, hit a lot of nice shots. And what Yakinder is bringing to Team Liquid is a lot of playstyle, the T sides from outsiders. When watching Liquid, they would be executing or like taking a site like really late into the round. And then there was like an interview I just read that Ykinder maybe wants to be captain in the future for Team Liquid. Maybe he picks up the IGL role. In that case, Nitro might be gone. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think what Liquid were lacking was like an updated look on macro understanding. Like, first off, Nitro hasn't been a part of the game for a decent amount of time. He's had to come up to speed, and he's been able to do so kind of individually quite well. But I think what separates at the moment the elite tier teams and the sort of mediocre teams is that the macro game, I think, is understood by rosters like NaVi, FaZe, or even the likes of I'd actually say G2. The macro is very good. But it's about wondering how the micro then interlinks with that, because I think Ykinder actually has a great macro understanding. He also has like a good work ethic, because I think in one of those interviews that he gave, he was sort of saying that like it's a little strange to see how the work is different between this sort of this NA team that I've now joined and versus what the outsiders were doing prior to their matches. So I think I could very well see Ykinder in a captain role, which would be crazy, because I think if you look back like 2 years or so, if Ykinder hadn't done all the interviews for outsiders, first off, he wouldn't have been on the map for like international pickup, let alone being a captain of an international squad. That would be mental if that ended up happening.
I mean, the one point that Nart brought up earlier was the fact that Elise just kind of wasn't shooting back in the past couple of events. Do you think that also has something to do with just Ykinder also being able to pick up that role? Because Shox was never, at least on Liquid, I feel like he wasn't that guy who's going to start clicking heads like an absolute mad lad. So do you think maybe a bit of pressure was off him, so he just kind of like felt and performed better because of it?
I just simply think Ykinder allows for a lot more space, regardless of what kind of star you play as, whether you're somebody like Blame or Config. That's why everybody has Ykinder as such like a high prospect, is that he seems to be like a very articulate guy, seems to understand what he's talking about pretty damn well, and he can shoot heads in the server. So like, regardless of what spot conflicts you might have had, you would give Ykinder most of those spots anyway, just because you know whatever he's doing, he's either relaying info or he's getting kills. And yeah, I mean, I don't see a way that doesn't elevate any of your stars, unless your star is literally an entry fragger as well.
I'm kind of interested to wonder if Ykinder was calling at all for Liquid, because their playstyle looked like it, like looked like outsiders. I don't know if he, I mean, I know they implemented it, but I wonder if he made, if he was calling for them at all.
I don't imagine you gonna maybe captain without goaling.
I mean, I don't think it was calling like on the start of the round, but I think it was like getting like the command in the middle of the round, or like getting some ideas to like when Nitro didn't have like some plan of game or something like that. I think he was giving Nitro some ideas to play around. I think.
Yeah.
That's what I guess. I don't know. Like, when I was watching the game against Monster Riders, I saw him like talking like at the start of the round or the end of the round. I imagined he was like correcting some things or giving some ideas. That's what I think.
That kind of tracks as well, because I can't remember who said it was. Maybe Nitro, or I think it was actually, it might have been a NAF interview where you're saying it reminds him a lot of Stewie in like how he is as a player, and that's very much our outside MO of what Stewie does. Like, he's always got good mid rounding.
Yeah, Ykinder. I've actually talked with Ykinder, and I'm like, dude, your playstyle reminds me of Stewie. He's like, yeah, we share a similar playstyle. So
yeah,
I can confirm on that.
Is there any more input on the series, the Movistar and Liquid? Before we get into the semis?
Regardless of who got to the semis there, I think both of them are having a hard time. So
yeah. Let's go to the semis.
Overall, Sampayas played great, and then hopefully Liquid signed Ykinder, and they looked good with Ykinder. So
and Mouse shocked, and we don't know even Shaw's got to do something. That's the overall like.
Yeah, so the thing with Mouse is that they need to continue this performance. Hopefully it's just not like a one-time thing, Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to the semis.
All right, NaVi Astralis.
Map 1 didn't convince me at all until I saw Map 2 of Astralis actually pushing it into the Mirage. we're going back with how blamF calls Mirage, and they brought it very close on against NaVi. That's why I'm like, whoa. They could have won that map.
What's
Meh.
concerning is that they threw a 12-3 lead.
That's what I was about to say. I was waiting for someone to point that out. That's not something you could
Well-
just like say,
well,
"Oh, we'll get
12
them next time,
Well,
boys." Like, now there's an
12-3
issue.
lead. Navi threw a 12-3 lead as well today, so that just shows you how strong the freaking CT
And?
sides are.
I mean, I just
Yeah.
like if you're getting 12-3'd on a half, like that's not we just got unlucky. Like there is a big fucking problem here. Like that's just the case.
It's just, but this series in general, like I had Navi winning it no matter what. Just like this game of the Astralis shit. If blamF's calling, who the hell knows if he's gonna keep? He might call to a different map. Who knows?
I mean, it worked. Like
It worked.
to some extent.
I mean,
it worked.
if you're saying that, like
Yeah.
like if blamF is starting to call like other maps too, then what's the point of having Glaive, right?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Maybe that's like that could literally just be the case. Like you could just see Glaive and Zipnik start to check out of this roster. Like I wouldn't be shocked if that's the plan. Like to bring in blamF, start to transition him to IGL. You get these two out of here, and you start to like rebuild Astralis, an
That's-
actual team.
It's my
They signed multi-year contracts with these two, mind you.
Just
if
bench them.
And if you understand Astralis, like they're getting good money out of like if they're getting bought out of those contracts, that is first off Astralis. You're probably in the red a little bit there. And it's just it doesn't make sense as well because Glaive is a good in-game leader. I think
know.
that's always been the case. Regardless of whether blamF can call a good one map, that doesn't change the fact that Glaive is a multi-major winning in-game leader. Like.
Okay.
That report doesn't just slip away just because you've lost some of your
Well,
star
Double
players.
Walk is a major winning coach.
Yeah, he's a one not multi-majors.
I don't know, man. I think
Zeus
that's
is a
something really double-edged.
multi-major winning coach. I'm just throwing shit out there, but like
Mhm,
I'm not sure how much it means in this day and age when I think the Counterstrike meta shifts so quickly, and the players that you work with are completely different, and players change and age. I think in esports at a faster rate than even conventional sports. So, I mean, can you even say that, like, you know, is I know Glaive seems like, you know, the unthinkable option, but and we haven't even reached that point yet. Let's be honest. I think maybe this Astralis lineup still has some legs to it. But that is something that like just because, you know, I know he has such a legacy with the Astralis. It probably won't happen for another like 2 years, all things said. But sometime in the future, the unthinkable option might just happen.
I just like to also caveat that, like, first off, Mirage is also not a hyper complex map to call because it is a lot more feel based and a little bit more push pull than say something like Vertigo or Overpass, where there's a lot more intricacy to what T sides can sort of bring and how you have to respond to that on CT sides as well. So,
well, that's right, but from what we know, he's just calling on Mirage. So to an extent, while your points are valid, it's like that's the only sample size we have to go off of. So
true.
Do you not remember how bad the complexity T sides looked with?
Look, hey man,
oh my god!
Look, hear me out. You're right, but the T side was also bad here. So maybe with Glaive, that's an issue they figure out. You giddy up out of here for him. You bring in someone new, and Astralis top 1 team again. Like that's that.
Okay.
I mean, going to the player break, you know, is it obvious that they're gonna replace Farlick?
Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah,
but who do you replace him with?
Yeah, exactly. There's
Device.
bro, if Device was coming back, NIP would still be in Cologne. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
I am about to start emailing hospitals to find out if Device is okay, because I honestly just want to know that he's like doing well. To be honest, like I miss him.
Yeah,
we all do.
I see a lot of highlights of him playing Face It. Like those, there's like random like YouTube compilations of him playing Face It.
But they go back to this tournament, back to this match between NaVi and Astralis. Man, Bit carried the shit out of them.
Yeah, I think it's worth moving.
37 frags, 120 ADR on Mirage. That's insane.
Yeah, dude.
Set him down.
And Config stepped up to 37 frags, almost 100 ADR.
Crops were talking back that game. What can I say?
Any last words
well,
for this match, guys?
They had a disgusting map of Mirage that basically saved NaVi. I'm not sure if they would have won Overpass with for Astralis, but I mean,
It saved them.
yeah, I think it's worth moving on to the next couple.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the other matchup.
Yes, sir.
FaZe and Movistar.
This made me like seriously believe in the Movistar project. Like, okay, they got kind of maybe dunked on, all things said, but I think there's so many different rounds that could have went differently from Movi. I almost called them Movistar, but
NT,
there's so
buddy.
many rounds that could have went differently in this series for Movistar. And I actually this watching the series, even though it was a quick 2-0 loss, kind of made me believe in it.
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
I think they should. I think they should have won Ancient to a certain degree.
Yeah, they lost a lot of like rounds where they were like up like 2 to 3 players. So, I mean, even in that post game interview, whoever, I can't remember who they interviewed, he even said the same thing. They should have won. Well, it could have been a different game had they won those rounds.
Yeah,
and they they made a comeback towards the end, but they couldn't close it out.
I think a huge strength of Movistar Riders is specifically all 5 of their players have a very, very high floor and a pretty decent ceiling. Like on an individual basis, I don't really see incredible weak links. Even degster used to be a weak link for this team. I don't think he was this entire event. I think it's they kind of just met their match in FaZe. In terms of just like man to man, is the biggest thing. I think a lot of Riders definitely got the better end of the duels in a lot of their earlier matchups, but I think they're still a very deadly team.
And then that twist 1v3 clutch at the end there on Ancient, that was beautiful.
Can I just say, Twist this event has had so many like, just like you look at his POV and like 1vx's and you just think that he's winning them. Like he had what 3 1v3s at this event, and all of them are just so filthy, man. Like
yeah, he's so mechanically so good.
Yeah.
Twist is just the whole 9 yards. Like he's a god tier player. He knows what he's doing. He's always mechanically gifted. He's hot as hell. He gets so many females. He's what everybody wants to be as a CS player.
Yeah, nice.
I can't top that.
Yeah.
I don't have any input on the series. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you.
On the semis, I actually just give big props to Movistar Riders, but they met their match.
Yeah.
We all knew what the final was gonna be.
Well, post game before we move on is like they said like the next step is to break into that top 15, 10 to 15 rankings.
So they're in the top.
They can do it.
Top 5.
They're already gonna do it. They're gonna do it this Monday.
Yeah.
Breaking the top 10, like push it higher. That's all I want to see.
Okay, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, for the semis, we're all going to the matchup we knew was gonna happen.
Now,
there we go.
I got a big, just
what
vent problem about the finals, bro.
What?
Please don't come in with a bad take.
Best of 5.
Hate best of 5s. There is
Here we go.
Okay, look, bro, just hear me out. Best of 5s, in my mind, only make sense when you've got a lower bracket. Because in that case, the winner gets that 1 map advantage in the final, which say whatever the hell you want about it, can be dumb, can be smart. It makes more sense there. In best of 5s, that shit don't make any sense in a single elimination bracket. Number 1, they take long. Everybody hates them. There has not been like a single pro who's like, yeah, I think best of 5s are kind of cool. Hell no. Nobody likes them. So for starters, if you run this back to a BO3, take a gander at the maps. NaVi got fisted. So you kind of feel bad for them in that result, in that regard.
NaVi won. You mean FaZe?
No, they didn't.
If it's a best of 3?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's a best of 3, NaVi won.
Yeah.
And Malbs, wait 1 sec. You threw your hot take. I want to hear Malbs, the player, saying about best of 5s. What's your take on it?
I feel they're horrible, being honest. Like, it makes no sense. Like, it's kind of even BO3s are tiring, and now if you put 2 more maps on it, that's horrible. And like this match went through like overtimes. The last map was a 16-14, so that's kind of hard, tiring. So it's not like good, I would say, like healthy at least. I don't know. Like it's a lot.
alongside that,
I
why don't we
agree.
have a
I
lower
agree.
bracket?
Like I agree for both parts. Like in favor of best of 5 and best of 3. For like what I don't like about best of 5 is like it could be too long. Like I'll be honest, the one map I didn't watch most of it is Mirage. But for like the pro statement for best of 5s, why they're good is because you get the full 5 maps. Like you see which team is actually, I would say, better, right? Deeper map pool.
I mean, I can see the sense of behind like which team is better in the sense of a deeper map pool, but realistically speaking, you probably didn't get that in this series. Like when it comes to those 5 maps, and I'm sure Malbs can like agree with that. Like it gets to a point where it just turns from, okay, well, we're in this to win anymore. And like external factors play a problem. Like, oh, maybe I'm a bit tired. I'm not as much on my A game anymore. It's easier to get in your own head the longer you go on. So if you have a bad map in a best of 3, it's like, okay, I move on to map 2. But if you have a bad map, and let's say if you were like Perfecto in map 4, like you could come into Nuke, it's going to be a lot harder to keep that mentality up. I think maybe if you want to use it in a sense of who's got the deeper map pool, you look at more best of 3s from them, because I think a best of 5 doesn't necessarily show their A game for the whole time.
Five, Yumi, any take?
I think I think in an ideal world we would have like a best of 4 final, and so whoever, if somebody gets 3 maps in those opening 4 maps, then they win. There's no second day. But if they end up in a tie situation where it's 2-2 and they need a final map, ideally I think you would have like either an extended break, or you would maybe even just play on a separate day, because you can make it like almost like a fight night kind of knockout, where this final map finally determines who's the king of Cologne or who's the king of whatever. But from a production standpoint and like an events run standpoint, that doesn't make any sense, because
I was gonna say
you either
like
have
American
a day or you don't.
baseball almost, which is
Yeah.
like
I just feel like there needs to be that gap.
That would be like an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, 2 BO3s, and if there's a bracket reset, then it would be on a different day.
That's what I was thinking. Like after watching a lot of Smash, I was like, why don't we just like have a lower bracket? Because I mean, they have lower brackets. They had it in the event. I don't know why they just stop it in playoffs. It still doesn't make sense to me. Because obviously, you might not get a team's best on one day. So there is still that added aspect of like, okay, well, it's not the end of the world. We can still go through the lower bracket tomorrow and play better. But then you have that extra room of why not just like play a best of 3 again? Because if you have that lower bracket, most people might jump to the conclusion of, oh, well, in the best of 5, we can just give the winner side team a map advantage, but then just takes too long if you run back best of 5s on another day. So at that point, just like if the team from the loser's bracket wins that best of 3, you just play another best of 3, and it would be in that hypothetical second day.
I do think from a stories point of view, though, it does add a certain amount to it, because if you've attended multiple best of 5s, like you understand the conditions you're working in. Whereas like teams that are on the come up, that will be brand new experiences. So there is like an element of veterancy and stamina that's required in these high or these elite level players that I think newer players are going to have to experience and get to that point to have those opportunities. I like best of 5s because of the deep map pool, because of the stamina that's required, and because those big plays actually like matter that much more, because it's going to be a long haul all the way through. But from a viewership angle, like it's way longer than conventional sports. Even it's way longer than most other esports as well. It can be a bit ridiculous in terms of like segmenting off 8 hours of your day to watch a best of 5 final.
I feel like that just gatekeeps it, though. Like, I mean, I get the whole veterancy thing, and like, obviously, in an event like this, it's supposed to be like all around the best team wins. But at this rate, like, there's almost no events that have just best of 5s. So the only way to get that experience is by playing tons and tons of best of 5s and finally realizing that. I just don't think that's fair to have for the younger players. It's like there's already so many elements going against them. And I get like, you have to have veterans to experience or to be able to stay in it for that long. I just don't think it's needed. I
Whether you
really
like
don't.
it or not, smaller tournaments are actually adding best of 5 finals, especially in the ESL circuit. Like they're trying to uniform the experience or like uniform the product from that certain degree. Like if you have best of 1 group stage games and then you have playoffs and best of 3s, I'm pretty sure like that's uniform. Like they'll stick with best of 3s all the way through, because they're separating group stage and playoffs by how many games you play.
I didn't know they were doing that. I didn't know they were throwing BO5s in the younger circuits. I'll back down
like
then.
But like for example, like in some of the national championships, I think they have added in best of fives, and some of the other online tournaments they have as well. So,
But besides the best of 5 argument, how would you guys rate the overall matchup?
oh, this
FaZe
best
winning?
That's one of the
sick.
best matches
Yeah.
in CS history.
Mhm.
was great. I'm also really glad to see that FaZe were able to stick up to it, because coming into this event, I feel like we've kind of been seeing two different phases, like after the major, where you see like, holy hell, these guys won the major, no surprise, and wow, these guys won the major. Like, you go back to Blast, where they just kind of didn't look all that great. Same thing goes for Dallas, but they come in here looking like they still have what it takes, because I was kind of getting worried. I mean, even everybody's like, okay, yeah, Navi's just the #1 team again, and I didn't want another we're the best team for 2 weeks kind of team, but I'm just glad that FaZe were able to keep it up. That's really it.
Speaking of NaVi, you think they're keeping Sumda Young STY?
Oh, hold on. Let's talk about that after we talk about the
Alright,
maps.
got it.
But I just want to give like a backstory of how going into this matchup here, where FaZe beat NaVi, you know, grand finals last major in Antwerp. But at that time, you know, simple. Like if you guys watched the finals, Simple Electronic were missing. You know, there was a Boomich drama and then the war. So who knows what would have happened if, you know, that wasn't there. And then, you know, coming into this finals, #1 versus #2, whoever's going to win this is going to be #1 going to a player break. And then it feels like everybody else besides FaZe and NaVi are just like a tier lower. Like they're just on a whole nother level, right? And like NaVi and FaZe are just so neck and neck when it comes to like individual players, team play. And NaVi won their last meeting at Blast. They dominated them. FaZe never won Cologne. NaVi was going to go for their 3rd title, never done before. And then if we go into Inferno, FaZe picked that. And that Kerrigan's always said in previous interviews that that's their strongest map. So in Roobet, they weren't picking Inferno because they wanted to practice other maps. And NaVi they've had their struggles on Inferno. And FaZe started 5-0 early start 5-0. And that kind of like, if we look at the last major, you know, FaZe, I can't remember what they started, but they snowballed on their T side as well. And it looked like it was going to happen here. However, what happened was Simple did that 3K with the Deagle at B, and then NaVi went on a streak. And then later, towards the second half, NaVi were up like 12-8, 12-7 or something. And then FaZe just kept getting these multi-frags to close out. That Brokey 4K, that was insane. Spray down. But yeah, that was like a little bit about Inferno. What do you guys have thoughts on Inferno?
Yeah, I've always been a little bit on off with NaVi's Inferno, because I know for a fact, like especially because they've shifted in-game leaders, sort of. They have I think struggled to like close rounds, because as much as they want to stick with like the Blade flowchart, sometimes you can't always just stick with how it is on paper. Like you have to feel things out, and FaZe are going to be more comfortable in those sort of micro level decision making choices. I think just from like a comfortability point of view. I think even when if I pull anything away from that simple post game interview where he's like, well, Sumda Young did forget some things.
Oh my
when we were
gosh,
playing.
I can't believe he said that.
Yeah, I know. It
I was
felt
like,
a little.
"Oh,
It felt a little bit
no."
undercut, you know. But he did bring it back by saying like, we spend more time with this player, like
Yeah.
that won't be an issue, you know. So there's hope for NaVi to iron out some of those choices, because they get themselves into some pretty favorable positions fairly often, but it can be those small moments of like hesitation that just like give extra space over that FaZe are always going to capitalize on. So
Any other input on Inferno?
Didn't watch the match. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. All right, let's go into Overpass, NaVi's pick. So NaVi's always looked really good on their CT side since SDY came in. And, you know, they've had dominant CT side have like 12-3 against like NIP and Movistar Riders. And I can't believe Twist pulled off another 1v3 on this map.
Yes, he did.
He's stuck at sandbags. I don't know how he pulled that one off.
The 6 spray transfer as well. Like if people want to rewatch that, like ISO's the first duel and then just wide swing spray transfer. It's sick.
And then it broke NaVi's money. And then the following round, like NaVi had a huge eco on B side, losing nobody. and then
Mhm.
from there just snowballed.
and Perfecto's a clutch god.
Yeah,
Sum that
there's
up,
the
though.
1v1 as well.
Was at the end? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, won a pretty close 1v1, I think, with a 5-7. And
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh yeah. It was the last round. Yeah, I remember now.
Against Brokey.
But that was really it for Overpass. So that's tied 1-1. Going to Ancient, FaZe's pick. Now,
this was a weird map.
Yeah, this was classified.
12-3 NaVi like on CT side. So like Sponge was saying, like FaZe was showing a lot of their tactics and new things that they found on Ancient, on Rubat, and all. Like, you know, that NaVi had a lot of demos to work with. You know, do you guys think that was the case of anti-shredding there?
Yeah, I think it was also just like they were willing to take those fights early enough. You know, there might have been like these small timings that they've identified that FaZe are going to have an extra player with like a flash out that could be, if you wait an extra 1 or 2 seconds, ready to take a fight. But it felt like NaVi were getting a lot of those small edge kills. Like their opening kill rate on the CT side was pretty good. I don't think FaZe ever really had much chance to recover. So I could definitely see that. Like I don't doubt that they've put in that level of work or that level of scrutiny to FaZe.
Mm-hmm. And then Electronic and Perfecto led the way. On the first half, they had like 18 frags apiece on their CT sides, on the CT side. So that was a really dominant performance from both of them. But FaZe were actually able to claw it back and bring it back to overtime from a 12-3 lead from NaVi. Like AnThran was saying earlier. Was it you, AnThran?
Yeah.
You brought it up? Yeah.
I don't know what happened in the second half because NaVi just could not kill people.
They couldn't
Like,
get
even
any
in-
openings or bomb plants.
It's just when it came to even like small punish peaks, like somebody's supposed to trade, it's like they just could not hit their shots. I think they had like 3 rounds where they killed three people on the CT side. Like that's how dominant FaZe were in terms of like just crushing any of their opening setups. That almost felt like maybe one of the instances where they might have just even identified like, okay, Young, maybe you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing on this map in particular, because it just felt like there was an extra level that just wasn't available there for NaVi until we actually like got into the very, very tail end of the game.
And then Electronic only had 3 frags on the T side. The whole game.
Right, and call me crazy, but Ancient is somewhat more CT sided now.
Oh
now,
yeah,
look.
It's the most.
You're agreeing with me.
Yes.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I thought I was gonna have some backlash to that statement.
Oh,
They're changing bomb sites to have more cover. Like that is
That's
only
not
going
even
to
that's not
benefit-
even what I think. So I think that's benefited for the T side. The way I look at the map now is, I think, for example, and I'm just doing this in terms of another map, where on Mirage the T's kind of have control of ramp for free, but they can, they have to exec into A, but to exec into A you kind of need ramp. I think it's harder for the T's to take ramp, but easier for the T's to take A, if that puts it into perspective. That's what I think Ancient's going to become.
I actually think it's the mid change that's affected the map the most, because
I know,
like,
that's what I mean.
taking Legend actually aggro, being aggro towards the B site is actually so much harder as a T side because of how much more open ended it is. Like you can do like even like a floor level boost to counteract somebody getting aggro cave, where that option wasn't available to you before. At least not in the same way. Like you would have been exposed behind a mid smoke. So yeah, I definitely agree.
hey Malz, your take on Ancient, like, is it like probably the most CT sided map in the map pool?
Yeah, it is. Like, you're, for example, 11-4 up or against someone, and now you're gonna play CT, you can still come back, like, you can still hit the comeback. But if you're, like, you started CT, and you're losing, like, let me think, like, 8-7, you're gonna lose it, like, there's no way you're gonna win it.
If the team gets a close T side and you're,
Yeah.
Though there is one thing I do like about the map now. I like that A is way easier to take. Like, I like that a lot of teams, and I think Astralis have been doing this the most at the top level. They just have this like eco/half-buy rush A strat where if they need a bomb plant, it's like 2 smokes. Temple isn't really much of an issue anymore. I think that's super T-sided. Like in the regard, I already thought A wasn't as explored as it should be, but I think if you're playing around to try to get a bomb plant, maybe cause some, some rebuys from the CTs, A is a lot easier to do that on now. Because you don't have to worry about that extra pressure from Temple. Like before, if you were a T planning on A before, it's like you had to worry about maybe somebody timing peeking a peek from CT. You had to maybe worry about nades or somebody spamming through a Temple smoke if you smoked Temples, or you just had to have a man always looking at it. And then you had to worry about spams or nades coming through from Donut. Like there was never a spot to plant 100% safe. And I guess there isn't really that now still, but it just makes it
it's still pretty
easier.
bad.
I think it's just about like the max amount of smokes you could throw on the bomb site is no longer 4. Like you only have 1 entrance to Temple instead of the 2 openings that were there before. You don't have to smoke. Like teams would typically sort of aggro push Donut, or even if they were smoking it out, there would be some exploitation towards Temple. But if you wanted to do like a full wall of smokes and just secure a plant, like you don't need to throw 4 smokes anymore. There's too much setup. I can't think of another bomb site that's even remotely similar to that. Usually it's like 2 smokes and the major rotates or the long range angles that CTs can hold from are smoked off. So I think it just brings it more in line with like what we know from the current CS meta and how other maps play out.
Is there any more input before we move on to the map 4?
I don't think so.
What was map 4? Map 4 was Mirage.
Mirage. This was NaVi's
NaVi's
pick, even though they didn't look too good at it on against Astralis going down, 3-12. What do you guys think about Mirage? I did not actually catch most of it. Looked like NaVi started T side, only got 5 rounds, and then it got carried away with FaZe getting 10 on their CT and then finishing it off with 6 on their T sides. And FaZe, if we look at the distribution of kills, their top 4 players got 20 plus. That's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, the bit didn't do the best either in that map either, and Perfecto didn't even show up.
I think there's a couple of things that it could be. I mean, it could be Mirage or NaVi just having a bad Mirage, or it could be the fatigue starting to set in because it's just long.
They did take a 20-minute break, but still, like what you said, the fatigue is still huge factor.
It's still there. Like as time goes on,
right?
It's going to be harder and harder to stay mentally fit.
Like you just we're up 2-1. Now I have a 20-minute break, and then I gotta play another fucking 45-minute match. That's gruesome.
I think the positives for FaZe were definitely that like Rops and Twists on their CT side were just fragging hard.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like I think there's a lot of Rops stands and fans out there that won't look critically at all of his games and think like, oh well, unlucky, he had a pretty poor showing. But he looked mechanically sound. He was involving himself in the action. He wasn't hesitant or like waiting longer than he should, and he was just ripping heads. So I think if FaZe ever have confident starts like that, like they're most certainly going to close out. Like I thought NaVi actually looked good to open up their CT side. I actually thought FaZe would capitulate, but it just never happened. Especially when we entered that second half, when NaVi started getting rounds, we still saw some good success in terms of like scaling to bomb sites. I think FaZe were just rolling with the punches and just rolling with the confidence.
Like you were saying, Yumi, about Rops and his factor impact on the team. Twist gave him a special shout out on Twitter. Did you guys see that? He tweeted after the match, "Everyone on this team deserves praise, but nobody will ever truly know how much impact Rops has. Truly a special teammate and player. Thank you for everything you do." So
that guy's crazy.
No matter what,
and he's a shit poster.
Rops?
True.
Yeah, bro.
I know Brokey. I know Brokey is.
Nah, bro. Rob's be fucking with people, and it is
Rops
so
was the guy
funny.
wasn't Rops the guy that made up the fuck you for like don't kill my dream to his kids at the airport copy pasta.
He might have. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked, but I've seen videos of him just like walking into rooms and going, eh.
No, I like the video of him messing around with Sunny. I think Sunny was messing with him, and he started like kicking him or something. You guys see that one?
Is
no,
that the one where he's playing a game or something and they walk up to him and just like keep putting your hand? Yeah, I know what video you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Any other input on Mirage?
not for me.
No. All right. Let's look at NuK.
Oh,
14,
oh right, yeah, I
16.
forgot to say, Perfecto
yeah.
didn't kill anybody. So
You're right. He
that
had
was
what,
that
4
was
frags?
unfortunate.
Yeah.
He was like 1 in 15, and then Sun Young was like 4 in 15 right behind him. So
yeah, not good.
Not a good look.
Okay, NuK. FaZe started on CT and NaVi T side. NaVi were able to get 8 rounds on their T side to start off with. That's really good.
I'll be real with you. There's another reason I hate best of fives. I don't think NaVi would have gone to NuK. I don't think they would have.
Huh?
I don't think they would have gone to NuK.
I mean,
Why would you?
Do you think they would have picked it instead?
No, hell no. I think the picks would have been about the same. Why would you run it back against FaZe? Not only standing in with a player, but why would you run it back against the team that whooped your ass on it at the major in another grand final? I don't think you'd run that back.
Wait, what do you mean by
But
that?
they had to. Like at the major, they lost on this map.
Yeah, they had to play this here. Yeah.
Like you had to. That's what I'm saying. That's another reason best of five suck.
What's
you don't want to play that map.
What's funny was NuK used to be NaVi's like best map, right? They had that crazy win streak, and now this is one of FaZe's best maps. Like they put in a lot of time. Like FaZe used to be like mediocre on it, but now they're like one of the top teams on NuK.
You don't want to run that back. Like that's all I'm saying. They did not want to run that back.
I actually watched it. Oh, go ahead, Yumi.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, I simply think you do want to run it back because I actually think you learn from what works for them. I think like NaVi, when you looked at their T sides, looked good against FaZe. They were sort of conditioning and setting up these aggro pushes in ramp where they were uncontested. They got a lot of territory for free by manipulating rotations by FaZe.
Yeah.
I do think that they learned a lot from the loss that they had at the major, and I think they probably would have picked it in a best of 3, but that's just my 2 cents. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you regarding how NaVi played on their T side. They looked really good, manipulating rotations with the top NuK teams. That's what you see nowadays. You see a lot of 3-1-1, 3 grouped up. You got 2 lurkers, and then your 3 players. You're getting info like your 3 players go together, and then that opens up space and rotations for your 2 other players to move around the map. And if something happens there, maybe the 3 players come back to the open site. So that's how NuK is being played nowadays. But going on to the T side, SDY had a hot start, and then Electronic also chipped in, and then Twist on the other hand, he had 18 frags on CT side with 122 ADR. He was playing insane. Yeah. But
didn't he do that at the major too, though? Like, didn't he like farm T sides on NuK at the major?
I can't recall. Can anyone confirm that?
Cool.
Twist?
I thought I remembered him farming on him.
I don't
I remember Rain farming hard.
Yeah.
I do remember Rain farming. That was fun.
But
Rain had a good talk to the CT as well.
The same thing happened on when FaZe went on the T side. They were messing around with ramp a lot too. You saw like Bit was struggling. They had to bring Simple in a couple times, and then they were playing with rotations as well. And it came down to round 28 and 29 where Kerrigan called for Twist to do the main drop, and he got entry frags both times.
Back-to-back rounds where he got double entries through main. Like no support, no extra util outside. Like those are bold moves, and those are only big time player kind of moves, because what are the chances you're getting opt from garage, or you're getting opt from like back credit, or there's a main player waiting for you like at the sort of single box just outside of lockers. Like there are possibilities that could have been there for NaVi. And I don't think anybody expected Twist to make such a move that I think that was the knockout punch that Navi just weren't ready for.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if that was like a bit of an anti-strat from FaZe.
Yeah, for sure.
Completely real with you.
It probably is.
I wouldn't be shocked if they were like, all right, well, Simple might want to have more impact, so probably not going to play Garage. Because, I mean, I've seen a lot of the times where you just play that Opera in Heaven. Have more impact around the map. They come ramp, he's right there. They come sight, he's right there. If they fuck with outside without smokes, he's right there. And especially when like the pressure is high, like when you want to have as much impact as possible, when you want to be that one delivering so your team wins, I wouldn't be surprised if he just didn't want to play Garage, because I feel like it's a lot more linear than any other spot where you can only really worry about outside. Like if they're taking A and your Opera's in Garage, well, I mean, shit or luck, better luck next time. Like you don't want to let that be a possibility.
So when they did that in round 29, you know, what they did the same play with Twist running up, you know, Twinkie, top Marshmallow, whatever you want to call it. Electronic was right below him. I think that was Electronic, right? Somebody was right below him. You can't, like, was the audience that loud that he can't hear the footsteps that Twist is running?
I doubt it. Honestly, I doubt it. Have you heard Navi's comms, bro? I would not be shocked if people were just screaming in his ear.
I've never watched a NaVi video.
It's awful. It's
There's a lot of yelling.
You're in for a treat, bro. It's bad.
That's a video from a very long time ago, to be fair.
Nah, bro. I'm confident that is still how it sounds.
Well, I'm pretty sure they released like these. I think I can't remember if it was ESL or not. But there is like a comms video of them like playing Dust 2, and their comms sound clean. Like it's been I think Simple that are comming between each other. But it's not only just that. It's also the fact that even if they're talking, like there were these small moments where I think somebody like aggro pushed through lobby, and there's somebody sort of lurking door that it didn't feel like he heard him. Like he didn't react, but then just went to clear it anyway, like just to be sure.
That was insane. I think he cleared that. Moments. Like what the heck?
Yeah. So there are these tiny moments.
Like on LAN, the sound quality is not the same as like having a Cloud 2, for example. Like you're playing with in-ears, plus having the white sound on the big headphones. You know, is like different, and some players like to abuse that. So that's a little tricky thing from LAN, you know?
Scummy tactics!
Yeah, leaking right here.
That's why they say see me on LAN, because I want to cheat. Wow.
Alright, guys. Since we know FaZe won this shit, congrats to them for actually winning and showing that they could be #1 again. How was anyone's take on the Simple MVP?
It's rare to see a losing team have an MVP, right?
Jerry West.
No, like in CSGO, like in general, it's very rare. Like I think the last player to do it was a ZywOo. Can't remember.
So I think Blame's had one. I think ZywOo's had one.
Oh yeah, you're right. Blame got that that random tournament. What was that with Heroic winning it?
Yeah, where he had like
talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
40 kills in an overtime game, but they still lost or something.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna keep it real. Better gone to Twist.
I know the whole chat. Everyone was like, "Oh, Twist is gonna get MVP because of that."
Twist should have gotten it. Like he got robbed.
He had huge rounds. He had huge clutches. Like, man.
Yeah, people make the argument that it's like, oh, it's the whole tournament, but Twist played sick the whole tournament too. So I don't even really understand that argument. It's just like, if you're really going to use Simple stats as a reflection of like, oh, well, he was deserving of the MVP, then it feels like almost every event he should be winning the MVP.
Well,
because
honestly,
valid.
It's an MVP, but FaZe won the tournament. It's more important to win the tournament than being an MVP prize.
For sure.
Let's be real.
But it's also a reflection of like, is it the individual or is it the team?
Yeah.
To a certain degree, right?
And
like Simple played still lights out.
And speaking of the team of NaVi, I have two follow-up questions before we move on to the interview. Electronic IGL, how confident are you guys with that?
I think it'll work. I think in the future.
I think so as well. Yeah.
I think Blades just created a great document that they can fall back on, even if the calling feels a little off. Like, I think he's just got like a sick flowchart of if this then that. That even if it might not be applicable to that round, it's something that they have as like a reference point.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. Electronic could be a good IGL based off Blade. He could definitely mold him into a really good IGL.
Like I just don't see any negatives with Electronic being an IGL. Like number one, I feel like a lot of players like can IGL with not necessarily relative ease, but they can do it. But I think one thing you have to do as an IGL is know your players. And Electronic just kind of fits the board. He fits the bill all around there. Like he's been with these guys for so long. And then on top of that, an added benefit from him being IGL now instead of Boomich is like the old game plan against NaVi was like, okay, well, let's kill Boomich. Easy 4v5. Well, now that's not really a thing because Electronic can shoot back.
Yeah.
So you get that extra fifth slot to have somebody else farming you.
And speaking of the teammates, is this for STY? You think he's staying?
I could see it.
Well, that's a tough one. I don't know.
I don't know who else you pick up.
Yeah, that's the thing too, right?
All right, guys. I'll say it was a hell of a final to close out the season. A little like before the player break.
Probably the best
I
of all
think
time.
we have to move on to the interview of Miles really fast.
All good.
All right, Nart, you can start off a little, and I'll take some in there as well.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, take a little. I gotta fix the mic for a second. Yeah, so I'll start it off.
I mean, I can start if you don't want to start.
Go ahead.
Okay. Malbs, I have to ask. From outside in, like you guys were kind of set up to be like a FaZe level, like elite tier team. You guys are all star players. You guys are all sick at the game, but something didn't click. Do you think that the fact that you had to sort of build everything up with all of these different components that you have, guys, all of your spots and how you want to play it, like that clash of philosophies? Talk me through the process of like making this team try and work.
I feel like some of the main problems in the team was that there were some role clashes. Cold0 wasn't a captain, so that was a problem as well. He was doing it like well, but like not having like a main captain was like not the best idea. And like for example, me, I'm not that much of like an open guy. I'm like I need some time to like have a friendship with someone, like getting to trust someone is just like kind of hard for me. I'm like kind of hosed that kind of aspect, and I think that's some of the problems that basically didn't make us the Brazilian FaZe, for example.
Yeah, because if I follow up, like if I compare the initial formation of the 00 Nation roster that what could have been, and I compare it to the pickup that they've done with like the core of that Godsent roster, I feel like they're actually more set up to succeed because you're bringing over analysts, coaches, you've got a core foundation, and there's less to adjust. Would you agree with that kind of?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like they have been playing together since like what a year ago. That's like way easier. They just gotta adapt. Like basically, Cold0 and Try that we're playing since January together. So it's like just way easier than just getting 5 players, adapt them to a style they're probably not used to, and then getting a new coach. And some players are not used to living in Europe. They gotta be used to that, and that's like a whole process that wouldn't be like successful in 3 months, for example.
Yeah.
Can we I want to know more about like the time where before you first joined Team One. What were you like? What team were you on before? Like, how did you get in contact with Team One? How did you join them?
It was kind of funny. I was playing for Infinity Esports.
Uh-huh.
We were a team formed of 3 Colombians and 2 Guatemalans. Then I didn't like the team anymore. I felt like we were getting like some toxicity going on, and then they basically decided to go to bench. It was on May of 2020. Then I saw that CeRq was going to the MIBR bench, so I was playing against. It wasn't May. It wasn't May as well. Yeah. So I was playing against Pesadillo and Burton in rank S. I remember like I dropped 30 on them or something like that. It was a Mirage Pug. And Pesadillo went to... No, it was not Pesadillo. It was Maluki. He messaged me on Twitter. He said that they were needing a fifth, and if I was agreeing to like communicating Portuguese, like
Uh,
a mix of Portuguese with Spanish, and I agreed, and I was like a stand-in for them at the start of May, and then they liked me as a player. They liked how I was fitting in the team. But the problem was the language. So out of nowhere, I was like learning Portuguese by myself, and I started talking it like 3 months after or something like that. That was quick.
Damn.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
to cut anybody off, but are you telling me you got a tryout offer from a Mirage Pug?
Yeah, kind of.
Bro.
That's
Never
That's
awesome.
mind,
how
keep
that's
going.
how it
That is
went.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
hear stories of that, right? Where
Yeah.
these puggers come out of nowhere, playing FPL, rank S, getting tryouts, right?
That's how they found Mercury and Mosaic for Rare Atom.
It was not just from there that they knew me.
Yeah.
I used to play scrims against them.
Okay.
MDL from Infinity. It was, but like the important match that they saw that was good. It was from that pug, basically.
So Infinity, did you live here in the United States then?
No, I was living in Guatemala.
Okay, do you get good ping to US?
Yeah, I get to like 70, 80 to most of the US servers.
Oh, okay. That's not
Damn,
bad.
bro, that's good.
How is the Guatemalan scene? Like the
Um,
Central America scene? How would you say it? Like everyone knows the Brazil, like Argentina, but not a lot of people know like the Guatemala, Colombian, everything above Brazil. How is that scene?
being honest right now, I think like the best level of CS, like in Central America, like North Latin America, is from us. Like if we get to like play in World Championship and we get to play like Central America, North Latin America, like we play against, for example, Guatemala versus Colombia. I'm pretty sure that Guatemala will win that. Just for saying that. And it's not like the scene is like giant, for example. It's just like being honest, really good players, like that could be something. There are just like 4 more other than me playing CS right now. It's just like I get those 4, and that's gonna be my team. Just me and plus 4. That's the good Guatemalan scene.
Is CS the most popular esport in Guatemala?
Definitely not. It's
Definitely not.
Valorant and
I knew it.
like Fortnite. Yeah.
What the?
Oh good man,
Yeah,
you're a rare one.
I am.
I want to come back to the language deficit. Like, was that a huge factor? Because you speak Spanish, and you said to go into a Portuguese team. Like, how was that a huge factor in Team 1 and 0 Nation, or did
In
you learn
Team 1,
Portuguese?
in Team 1, I was feeling like more comfortable because they were kind of used to like listening to me and they will like understand fast what I was trying to say. But in 0 Nation, as we were like forming everything up, they were not like used to what I was talking, or I wasn't feeling comfortable with like communicating what I was trying to do. So, for example, if I wanted to do like a play, I I had to think first what I wanted to say, then say it, then do it. I will like delay my play, and then I will miss the timeout, like the timing, and then the play wouldn't work. So it was something like that, and I think that also happened in Team 1, but it's not like it happened that often as it happened in 0 Nation because I wasn't feeling like so much comfortable that kind of stuff. And it's not the same like in English. Like I feel more comfortable in English than
Like
Portuguese.
with that
wow.
with that previous experience you had of the languages, would you ever consider joining like an international team or anything like that?
Definitely, like that's my plan right now. Like if it's not like a North American team right now, I'm like looking forward to joining an international team. Definitely.
You
Got
telling
any
us you got anything you want to leak?
Any
any offers,
offers?
leaks? You
Nothing.
can give
Like
us?
Damn
right
it.
now, there's nothing.
Hey, guys, listen. Anybody out there that has any sort of pull, comfortable speaking in English, wants to join rosters, like,
Liquid.
So
EG.
Mouse?
so
Complexity.
so Malbs,
Listen, he's there.
Not caught up in sanction deals either.
So you're not comfortable with Portuguese still, right? Unless it's with Team One, your former teammates.
Yeah.
So would you ever go play with another Brazilian team?
I will, yeah, but it will take some time to like me getting
Okay.
used to the new teammates, like getting to like trust the way of me speaking to them, like
Mhm.
weird, yeah.
And moving forward, I wanted to hear about how did you get poached from Team One to 00 Nation?
It was weird. It was really weird because I'm gonna link it. I don't
Okay.
care. I was in talks with Complexity before they were going to get Fang, and at the end they got Fang instead of me, and I was like, yeah, I'm staying in Team One. Now the Team One CEO messaged me that CeRq wants me, and I was like, damn.
Ain't no way. Ain't no
Damn,
way a legend
okay.
in the community message says he wants you, and you just say, damn.
Yeah, but I was like, being honest, I didn't want to go. Like at first, I didn't want to go. I
Mhm.
was wanting to stay in Team One, but they convinced me. They told me about the project. The CEO talked to me, and he said that it will be like really good for me for my future. So I was like, well, let's give it a go. I accepted the offer, and it was like that. Like first they talked to the CEO, I think, and then I got messaged by ColeZero to like convince me as well. And I was like back and forward. And then that's basically how it happened. It was really weird.
Interesting to know that Cold is the mastermind behind the whole thing. He's handpicking his squad.
Yeah.
Well,
So, you got something for him, Nart?
yeah. I was gonna ask.
Go ahead.
So the reason why people were looking at you or people like you drew a lot of attention because you were playing really well. I think it was that pro league, right? I can't remember what season it was.
14.
14, yeah. So like your name started coming up after your performances. But
Yeah.
go ahead, AnThran. Sorry.
I didn't have anything that like controversial to say. Mobs, I just had a question for you since we're like really doubling down on CS here. I thought I'd lighten the mood. What's your favorite pizza?
So,
Yeah,
like like, what do you mean, like?
like if you and your buddies are like having a little bit of a sleepover, a slumber party, if you will, like playing some video
Hey,
games.
yo.
And you call in one of the pizza places. Like, what do you order from them?
Hard
He
choice.
eats pineapple.
I swear to God,
I like it.
See?
there's
He
no
likes
way.
it.
My
There is
man!
no way.
My man.
No, my man. That's not a my man moment.
All right.
Well,
He said
we're
pineapple.
waiting.
I like that one or the pepperoni one.
There we
Pepperoni.
go.
Okay.
Okay.
Pepperoni's
Okay.
fine. Pepperoni's fine.
Okay.
And one more thing I have to ask you. You said you were outside, right?
Yeah.
Can you touch grass?
Right now, I'm not able to.
Rats.
Ah,
That's all I got for you, man.
Okay. I want to go back to what Yumi started off with. When 00 Nation was first formed with Try and yourself coming in with Leo, Cold, and VSM. I agree with Yumi. I was like, oh my gosh, this team is gonna be insane. So much firepower. Like they're gonna be ones to watch out for. But you guys really never clicked outside of that one upset victory at the major against Liquid. You guys like dominated them, and then you guys went on to lose the next 3 games and get eliminated. Walk us through like what happened at the major.
This is even sad to remember. Like when we beat Liquid, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
It's happening. But everything just fell apart. I don't know. Like we were having like the little bounce off of the wall, like we were like from the down of the floor, going up, and then bouncing off the wall, and going back to the floor again. We were like
Hmm.
having the little power up, and then everything just fell down, fell apart, and we were like having some problems already. And I don't know. I feel like that was the last round, we had here, and then like we were like, okay, we have some problems. We know that we have the problems. This is probably like the last event for some, and we gotta do like the best run we can. And once we beat Liquid, we were like, okay, we're doing well. Keep doing like this.
Mhm.
And then we got against Complexity. We got 16-5, and everything just fell apart. And then I feel like we were like broke or something. We were like broken, and we started losing, and yeah, we got disqualified and qualified for the major. That's how it ended.
So once you guys got eliminated, that's when talks came about on roster changes. Okay.
Like right away, like
I
match
re-
ended,
yeah.
room meeting. What are you guys gonna do?
Hmm.
That was basically it.
Are you still under contract?
Yeah,
You are.
I'm still under
Okay.
contract.
And the initial reports I read, I thought I read like Try was also gonna get benched. Is that true?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
My man don't want to leak. Come on now. He's got friends there.
Real quick, before anyone else has questions, there's a viewer, Lottie CSG in Twitch chat wants to know, what are your thoughts about Try?
Oh, he's really good. Like he's definitely one of the best uppers I've ever seen.
Mhm.
But he just needs some more experience, some more time in the scene. And he's just gonna pop off. Like I'm pretty sure. And he's like a really cool guy. I was like outside of the game, he's
Mhm.
really cool. He's kind of quiet as well. He's like the little child, but he's cool. I just like him. Like he's a really good friend, and I enjoyed playing with him. He
Yeah.
was really good. I miss him carrying me as well. You know, I just wish him the best, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna make it. Like he's really talented.
Yeah, I want to confirm what you're saying about Try. When I watch his demos, he hits he's like Modesty levels to me. Honest
Yeah,
to God. Like that's how good he
he
is.
hits the
Yeah.
yeah, he just
So
hits the flex.
Saga, you had a question?
Question. A lot of people talk about the Mobs Deagle. What you can tell us about your Deagle plays? Like, would you consider yourself one of the best Deagle players in the world?
Being honest, yeah.
Better than Nico? Better than Nico?
I
Just
don't
say
think
it.
so. Like,
Say it so we can clip it.
probably,
Say it so we can clip it. Just say
I
it.
don't think it's like better, but it's kind of getting it. You know,
It's
like,
getting there.
it's on the way,
Top 5.
yeah, probably. Like, if there was a round where my team is full of blocks and I get to kill one with Deagle,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna kill 2 more with Deagle, and my teammates are gonna win the round. Like that's how it is.
All the confidence.
Yeah, it's like a flow state.
And it's like if I get that one motherfucker, I'm killing this whole team right
Yeah,
now, and I'm
and
winning this goddamn round. That's all I feel like.
that even happened. I think it was against it was against Gambit on tournament.
Are there rounds where you'll just like sit in a corner and hope that, like, pray to God that they just walk in for that first kill? Then you just go 8 mode?
Not only just holding it, like I would just swing, get one, then just swing again, get another one, get into the site, get another one, and they just go to save because they know they lost a round.
There you go,
Damn, bro,
everybody.
he really just swings that moment.
Counterstrike is easy.
That's my deagle.
That's your Deagle.
Just shoot him, lol.
Well, I know you said earlier that you're interested with opportunities working with international teams, but most recently you helped your former teammates Team 1 qualified for ECL in regulation. Is there a chance that you could go back to Team 1?
I was in talks with them, but I'm not gonna go back. I already denied the offer. There was an offer going on, but I denied it. I just want to give it a try to the English language, you know, like
Okay.
I've never played on an English team, or like an English-speaking team, and I feel like that's the best language that I feel comfortable on. And I just want to give it a try, and yeah, I just want to try it.
Yeah. I hope you know, EG and or Cole are looking at you. So
Yeah, dude, we need it.
Swear to God, bro.
Damn, Guatemala. Yeah, what's up? I'm back.
He's back, boys. You heard it. Where is HLTV? Get the article up, bro.
Wait, what were you asking? Like, I couldn't hear a single thing. There was something back here.
Oh shit! I thought he was
Re-
just agreeing with us. Mama.
Repeat it,
Repeat it.
AnThran.
Repeat
Anthony.
what? I was just making a joke.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's settled, right? Your next team, you're looking at international English speaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, a little like outside of like CS, like what sports, like other games do you like to do?
I like Apex Legends, like outside of CS, and
Respect.
in the real world, I just like football, like soccer.
There we
I
go.
was kind of good at it, but like I started gaming, and I just gave it away. So yeah, but I was kind of good at soccer.
CS
Have you
more
ever played
important.
Smash?
Yeah, I have, and I was kind of good.
Which one? Which one? Which one?
I used to play the Wii one, like the Brawl.
Smash 4. Ugh. Never mind.
I used to play with Lucas. It was
Okay, never
I
mind.
was
That's kind of
good at
pog.
it.
That's
Yeah.
a Chad move. Don't mind us. Just two geeks geeking out over something.
I mean,
we
it
have
sounded
no
like you
idea
just
about.
tried to gatekeep him. You were just like, "Oh
Because
wow, we
Smash
accept
4 is
you.
a
That's
bad
crazy."
game.
Yeah, well, Smash
Listen.
4. Come on
It's
now,
a bad game.
you elitist.
Widely known.
Guys, just trying to have some fun.
At least he played Lucas. If he would have said Bayonetta, I would have asked him politely to
Yeah.
leave.
I ask everyone this every single week. Have you dabbed in Valorant?
I've tried it a couple times, but I don't like that game.
There we go. That's the response
That's
I love.
facts.
Good shit.
Shit.
I feel like
This is the
it's
man
single-
NA needs, bro.
Yeah,
This is
like
this is NA's
any
other
single
savior.
player that even if he's not like smart or something, he will just one tap you like out of nowhere. Like he will accident you or something. I don't like that game. This is like
Perfect.
I don't like.
My
Alright,
man's talking about
yeah.
swinging wide with deagles and then says accidented. Oh,
Yeah, but I'm not accidenting.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
Here's the thing: if you didn't hate the game currently, you would hate it in 6 months anyway. So it's a never-ending cycle. That's always why all these CS players keep coming back. Like
True.
It's almost like it wasn't the game.
yeah.
One vanity back.
And it's also why the Valorant community seems to just like froth at the mouth as soon as a CS player is even like close to retirement. It's like, oh, Valorant, maybe.
Yeah, did you see the Xset tweet where they announced Stewie?
Man.
Was that
was-
real?
No, it was,
I got
it
baited.
looked
Oh.
like
I
a
got
goat.
baited.
I
I'll
got
be
baited
honest.
too.
I got baited by it too. I'm like, what the fuck? And I went to Stewie's Twitter.
I want
Alright.
Zelsis back.
All right, Miles. This is what our podcast is fairly new. Is there any comments you want to say to all your fans, also to the listeners on the podcast before we close out the interview process?
I wanna first of all, I wanna thank NarT for inviting me to the podcast. Like, I enjoyed it. I like you guys know a lot about CS, and it's good to have some people like this in NA. It's good. And I also want to thank the people following me that have been rooting for me and supporting me throughout my journey in CS. I want to thank them so much. And also want to thank my family who has been supporting me all the way up since I started playing since 1.6. And yeah, I want to thank everyone who has been behind me. And also for the NarT podcast listeners, thanks for listening to the podcast and hope you guys enjoy it. Big hug for everyone.
All right, Malbs. Is it before he goes? Anyone said any questions? Because he's got to go.
No man, just thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for answering
by
questions
the
as
way,
well.
Yeah.
Best of luck, and hopefully Complexity hands you another offer. Thank you.
Or even EG. So
Or even EG.
Or EG.
yeah. I'm sure we'll see you soon on a roster. You're
Yeah,
very
we'll see you
talented,
soon.
for sure.
Yeah. We believe.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, man.
All right. See you. everyone.
Bye,
Since we
Miles.
did the
See you later, man.
5 miles, since we had to do the interview first, we're gonna hit the fast recap of all the news that happened.
Ooh, that's good.
So where are we gonna start? We'll start with the G2 stuff. Pretty much the big rumor, right?
Yeah.
Rumor.
And
Well, it's
pretty much
confirmed
fact.
now.
It
was rumored
confirmed.
initially,
It was
right?
rumored.
Yeah.
Now it's confirmed.
About to say, bro.
Yeah. So the coach, has the coach been confirmed too? I want to hear Aleksib.
No, it's only Aleksib B. So what happened was BLIX reported this on the 12th, which was 5 days ago, saying Aleksib B and Xtaz were getting replaced, but Carlos said no on Twitter. But that's what most org owners do, right? They deny the changes.
Well, are they just gonna go out there and say, "Yeah, guys"?
But
by the way, the report spot on. You guys got us.
What's interesting as well was Nell. You know the reporter Nell.
Yeah.
He said no too. Like he posted a GIF, saying like head shaking no. So I was like,
wait. Go
Yeah.
back. He posted a what?
a
GIF.
GIF.
Thank
GIF.
you.
Yeah, but like you guys like Nell is very credited. Like
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, so this is not true then. And then all of a sudden, Aleksib B, was it today? Or was it yesterday?
I think.
Like
Yes,
during
yesterday.
Cologne, like during a Cologne match, I'm like, what the heck? Like this is so random. Like all of a sudden,
He was in that talking room. He was like, "Hell nah, guys, I can't solve this."
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm leaving. I'm like, okay. And then Carlos retweeted it either today or yesterday, his tweet. So Aleksib is leaving. Confirmed.
Yeah,
I'm
this
gonna be real with you. I don't
here we
know
go.
why they got rid of Nexa in the first place. Like,
Hmm.
if you had problems with him, sure, whatever. But what I felt G2 was looking for was results. And the one way to not do that, like weeks before one of your biggest events, is change out an IGL who's going to change your whole system. I think if you were making a change to get better results, why the hell is Jack still there? Let's be real with ourselves. Like, they just IGL swapped. Like, OG and G2 just IGL swapped. I mean, I get Aleksib B's got experience with these stars, but why would you bring in somebody who's probably going to reformat your whole system when you're looking for results quickly?
They've also had to implement Monacy and bring him up to speed with Tier 1 Counterstrike, which is not an easy feat. Like, we always knew there was going to be an adjustment period when it came to the AWP. And for all intents and purposes, on certain maps, Monacy looks right at home. You know, I think NuKe is the one that really stands out because they never really played it in like his academy teams. There's a lot more sort of intricate sort of anti-stratting that happens on the top end as well. So even if you do prepare your baseline, like you have to constantly adapt and almost work off a feel. I'm not going to pretend like I was a massive fan of the Aleksib B move. I appreciated that they wanted to go with like a more structured system, but I think we saw from their attendance at the major that even when they were running a more structured system, it felt like Nico was having like a bit of a deterioration in terms of his statistics, or even in the lead up to the major, that felt like the case. And it's been a bit hot and cold with one of their biggest star players. And I don't know if that's like system on, system off from event to event, but it almost feels like Nico wasn't able to pull resources from Aleksib or like break down the system to let him play, which means that you're not like weaponizing all of your tools the right way. But this is like a big black mark on Aleksib B's career, in all honesty. Like, if he's able to build up an OG squad and make them relatively competitive, never really a top form team, and then go to a team that has way better components and still not make it work, like this does call into question, like as articulate and as great as he is at like these micro moments that seem to get voice clipped and everyone's like, oh, Aleksib B is so smart and you know he offers a lot. Even if he's able to provide all of that, is he not better fitted to like a coaching role or an analyst role or something that's a little bit more detail oriented instead of during the games? Because he hasn't been able to manifest any of these ideas in the server and get the results that they were looking for. My problem with this move or this idea that he's even leaving the squad is who on God's green earth do you pick up to replace him? Like I can think of literally like one name, and that's the only name that I have had suggested to me. Shout out Mog, by the way. He was the one that sort of planted this seed in me. Was that boom? Maybe tabseN. That's about the best I got.
I could see tabseN.
Well,
Oh, you think? I don't think Big are gonna let him go. That guy is the heart and soul of that team.
No, I don't think so either. But
That's-
then,
No, hell no.
who do you
Hell-
go
G2,
for?
G2 do have fuck you money. Like that is
I mean-
something they could do.
The issue with tabseN is he's the face of Big Clan. Like, there's no way that you're not just
Yeah.
losing your IGL, you're losing your brand too.
Yeah.
And also, in my opinion, the best player that's on Big. I know CeRq hits cool op shots, but the spots that tabseN plays, especially on the CT side, is so impactful, and the performance that he's able to do it with as well is actually super insane. No, I don't. I mean, the move would work. Is it going to happen? I would be amazed if it did. I'm not going to bet anything. Maybe it does, but
well, I don't think tabseN's leaving either, but it would look
No.
it would look really good for G2, like on
Mhm.
if they picked them up. But like with godb coming back to coach too, CSGO, and him and godb
Yeah.
go way back, right, with
Yeah.
energy. So and they're like best friends. So I don't think he's leaving, no matter how much is offered.
Why do I have the feeling Nico IGL is coming back?
yeah, I know. I'm like, hey, pick up malbs.
I mean, like I could see it. It makes sense to have something like that, but realistically, G2 they've got to have something already decided. I know you're going into player break, but I don't think they want to spend half of that player break trying out people, trying out new systems. I think they have to already be onto something for them to have made this decision.
Well, the only player I could think of, maybe, I mean, what do you guys think about Alex? You know, Xtaz was his former coach in Vitality.
He
Now that
just signed a
he's-
contract with
Maybe.
Fnatic.
And he's benched,
So-
so I don't know.
Wait,
I
Alex?
mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Alex has been benched, bro. Come on now. What are you?
I'm stupid. Brain off.
Yeah,
Fuck
he
me.
been
I
Messi
could see
calling
it.
these days.
I definitely just think I think I'm more suited with the idea of somebody in G2 being an IGL. I think that's what they're better off doing. Like it'd be so much easier to just find a new player who's going to be able to adapt to that system and have that like firepower. I mean, NiKo honestly makes the most sense to me, obviously considering the previous experience. Then, I mean, what you're comfortable with, that system that was already in place can still be there. Then you just like bring a new player up to speed, bam, you're ready to go. Yeah, that's
Which player would you bring?
So
me
if you,
personally.
if you
I
say
don't know.
Nico's IGL, yeah, who are you bringing in?
Yeah.
Like you already have Jax who goes in first and does like all like the
And
the bitch stuff, right?
Wait,
Like,
wait, and let's
support
say
and-
like everyone would love to say Kinder, but let's say he's getting picked up by Liquid. Let's say
like
he's, I think
you need
I think
another
Ikender's off
player.
the
You need
table.
another player
Yeah.
like Jax on his team, right? Like they have Monacy,
amaNeK.
Hunter, Hunter, Nico, who need a lot of space and like they're all playmakers. Those three, right? So you need somebody to do like the dirty work alongside Jax.
Hmm.
So
I really don't know. That's the problem. Like, I don't feel like anybody suits. I don't think anybody fills those roles that is on the market right now. That's
Yeah,
why
also,
this
amaNeK
this
is
a-
off the market for those wondering. Sorry,
I
it was
still
just
think-
memeing.
G2, like this problem isn't starting now. This problem's been a thing. Like, not even before Aleksib joined, but even before that, when they were
Yeah.
making consistent roster shuffles. I don't like. Hear me out. What if none of these players are the problem, but there's just a big problem in G2 with that core? Like something isn't working.
yeah, we'll have to wait and
Like-
see what Alexi says, right? Like what was the issue?
Yeah.
Like you have like three like mindsets. Alexi's one, Xtaz one, and then Nico is one. So
Like,
what I don't know, like, but G2, like when this roster was first formed, bringing in Alexi, bringing in Monacy, like everyone's like, oh man, they have
Yep.
all the pieces to win, and like they played really well in the first tournament, Katowice, getting to the finals, almost taking down FaZe, and ever since it's not been looking good for them, and they haven't found a way to repeat that success.
wouldn't be shocked if Nico's the problem. I wouldn't be. I really wouldn't be. I mean, he's one of those players that'd be hard to get rid of, but it's also known in the past that he has not been the most player friendly to work with. And again, this is like a consistent problem
Yeah.
on G2. I even think back when when Kenny S was still playing, there was a bunch of emotional issues in the team. And I mean, I don't have too much to support my call here,
Mhm.
but like that's the only thing I can really think of right now.
I mean, that is
Like,
the rumored, right? Like, I mean, Nico has had issues in the past with his teammates. I don't know how true it is, so I don't want to say anything about that. But
yeah.
yeah. But if you get rid of Nico, then you might have to get rid of Hunter because those two are like best of
Well,
friends.
they're not going to be got rid of. Like, you can't get rid of them.
Yeah,
You've just
exactly,
signed them
yeah.
to an extension. They're still like the face of the team because, like, oh my god, Nico's crazy. Oh my god, Hunter's crazy.
Mhm.
So, like, it's just a problem for G2 that you can't really solve. Like, now you've got to find somebody who could either lead the team, IGL, pick it up, and just kind of bend in with the system, can deal with someone like potentially Nico just egoing them or being annoying the whole time, and still come up to speed within a player break and meet the I assume growing demands of the G2 staff who are like, we need these results.
It's so hard, right? Like, where do you go if you're G2? Do you let Nico IGL and you bring in somebody? Do you bring in IGL? It's
I
just
think you have to.
which bring in IGL?
I think you have to. No, I think you have to let Nico IGL because if in theory, if Nico's the problem,
Mhm.
then just having him IGL would be the easiest. Like, okay, well, how do you want things to go? Boom. Then have somebody catch up to speed with him. Maybe, probably, honestly, I could see them bringing in like another younger player, so you can try to like mold him, maybe even. So then you don't have like personalities clashing because it already kind of seems like the three Jax, Nico, Hunter all in cahoots. Then you've got Monesi who you're like molding to tier 1. Bring in another player like that who can just fill in those like those anchor roles, those bitch spots.
Yeah.
And you're set. Like, I could see that working out really well.
Sorry, is there another? I apologize
You're
for
good.
dropping out, but is there another name that was suggested while I was away?
No.
We just said
no.
Alex. That's it.
We said
Okay.
Alex, and we're talking about the Nico IGLing spot.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, another contender is, I guess, if Yukindar is like, hey, maybe I'll captain Liquid. Like, he's also a person that you could theoretically get away with, like, a Nico in-game leader, and then have Yukindar there as somebody that, like, if you're looking at Nico in-game leading, you would probably replace Jax, and you would get somebody else as well on top. That way you have
saying that for years.
a bit more firepower, and you have like a fluid dynamic to a certain degree, or maybe Yukindar just takes over to a certain degree, because I think the respect is there, and I think that's something that I think I remember speaking to Maui about. Maui and Thorin, they were talking about like Nico's also been a player that you had to almost like pass the Nico test to get on teams with him, or like be able to contend or have that level of respect, because I think there is an ego check that you have to pass at the door to a certain degree, and I think Yukindar would pass that by all intents and purposes.
Everything you're saying makes so much sense, but I am so damn sure that we will be seeing pen to paper within the next few days from Yukindar on Liquid. Like, the only way I see something like that going awry is, and I don't know, I mean, obviously, again, like that FU money that Carlos has got, like maybe they just say, here's a bigger check to do the same thing here.
But Liquid has
money too. They're
well, I know, but I'm saying that's the problem. Like, I feel like something has to go awry with the Liquid deal, but it's already happened.
Stewie 2K.
Yukinder's in good hands,
Hell
like
no.
himself. Like Yukinder can like, oh my god, Yukinder's about to get paid the bag. He's like, yeah, G2 offered me this. You're gonna have to double it, Liquid.
Yeah, like a bidding war.
Yeah, right. It's gonna. Congrats to Yukinder.
Yeah, if we're talking about Nico having ego issues, then like Stewie is not gonna fit. Stewie is not gonna
What's
fit.
funny
ever.
was Stewie was looked at. Do you guys hear that?
I did not.
Before EG was formed. I can't remember who said it or where I read it, but Nico wanted Stewie to come to G2.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Holy, nah, bro, that would not work. I'm gonna tell you that
After his time with Liquid. So,
can I clarify? It's not an ego issue. It's just simply like there's a certain caliber and a certain like killer instinct that a lot of like elite players have. And sometimes, you don't pass the vibe check. Like, you haven't got the credibility, or maybe you don't have the right, like, optics attitude. Like, there are certain factors that go into... Because I know for a fact that even among, like, in sort of any workplace, from the outside looking in, you see somebody, maybe you don't initially think you're going to get along with them, right? But that will almost act like it's like a gatekeeping element to a certain degree, even if you don't intend it to.
All right, I think that's good for talking about Nico and G2, but let's move the storyline to where Aleksib's gonna go.
I think NA.
Nah, I think NA is pretty decided already. I feel like most of the stuff when it comes to NA turmoil is pretty much already down, like back down to earth. I feel like it's already settled.
I have a real question about ATK, and I think they might be close to making more changes. I think personally their performance, they've come so freaking close in so many of these qualifiers. So I think there is a real possibility that they could make another change come this. I'm not sure how much you know about like the NA scene and what ATK does here, Yumi, but
I mean, I'm familiar with the fact that
sudden.
that's what I'm saying. I was about to bring that up. I was like, we're talking about LCP.
Sorry. I thought for some reason I thought I heard NA. I don't fucking know.
My man FaZe said, "Hey guys, look at this."
Yeah, I thought I heard.
We
NA
did. I did say
well, yeah, we're talking about NA, but like ATK does not have the Aleksib kind of money anyway.
Yeah.
So
okay,
it was in that context.
I meant like EG or Cole, EG or Cole. You think they could? You think they could get Aleksib maybe?
EG maybe, but I think they're already decided. I could see Cole.
I mean, EG have already had the rumors about Nealon and Huxi, so
Hey, but Aleksib freed up, so I don't know. Unless they, things could always.
I might go out on a limb and say I'd rather take Huxi over Aleksib.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, this is an old classic argument, but I think Huxi has a little bit more firepower than Aleksib.
Here we go.
Hell nah, bro. Bro, I was the biggest Copenhagen Flames coper on this planet. Hell nah, he ain't got more firepower.
I am still.
You think Aleksib has firepower?
I don't think he has firepower.
I still rate Aleksib a really good IGL, and I think he's better than both of those two listed, Huxi and Nealon. So,
agreed.
Yeah, true.
Like that's not about firepower. It's comparing wet dog shit to dog shit. Which would you rather smell?
And like you guys I think Yumi brought it up earlier where Aleksib likes microing. Well, with this G2 roster, you can't really do that, right? With all these experienced players. Maybe if he goes to EG or Cole, he could bring back his old calling style that saw the success of ENTS or OG.
Like, so you're saying Aleksib? Okay, if he doesn't go to NA, like where in EU would he go then?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It just kind of feels like most teams are set for their IGLs right now.
I probably see a new project he's gonna do, like a young project, something like that. Yeah.
What are Fnatic up to?
X7 and Ariel are making a project with HAVU, aren't they?
Ooh.
Oh no, is that is? Sorry, I'm pretty sure that's not on our docket, is it not?
Well, if the HAVU changes, yeah, we'll hit that up soon.
Yeah, so I mean,
maybe we put Aleksib in the pocket and pull him out.
Just like, come back, buddy.
Back. You pull the Dr. Evil beam. Come back.
Or if you really want an in-game leader, you go to MSL. In which case, he just responds, "You must have been really desperate to come to me."
Here's the plan. We put a roster together. MSL, Nifty, then whoever the hell else you want to throw in there.
I actually like MSL.
The toxic turn boys.
I think the one highlight is we have no idea who G2 can possibly pick up.
Yeah.
Like, can you mute the browser?
Yep.
Nah,
gotcha.
Man, no way. Rookie
My bad.
mistake.
I think that's it. I think that's enough talk about G2 and Lexi. Yeah.
We have to wait and see.
Sorry, do you want to move on?
Bring back next one. Yeah. Let's the other big news was the degster signing with OG. I wasn't shocked because after how good he played in OG and Blast, but I thought he was gonna go to ENTS. I thought they were gonna make a move, but seeing how you played in OG, I love the degster signing. What'd you guys take on it?
Dude, I was shocked because mantuu played really good in their was it Rubet was their last event together?
I think so.
Yeah.
And he all of a sudden it came out of nowhere, honestly. Even though
you had a feeling.
I didn't know. I didn't know honestly, but Degster for sure. Like when he stood in with them in IEM Dallas, he just has that X factor. He's got that killer instinct, and he's a top. I don't know. Would you guys say top 5?
I can see it.
Hopper?
Yeah.
He's performed like it.
Mhm.
He looked
Would you-
really good. Like
Yeah.
you don't just luck your way into a win over NaVi. That's not how that works. So, like I liked it. I
It's-
didn't see this as a surprise.
It's gotta be a
either.
team
Bro,
decision too.
I thought it was be OG or Ents. One of those two. OG like 70-30 over Ents. Because I thought Ents to make something. Well, actually, I love this for OG.
It almost felt like he was just like on the dating app, and he saw OG.
He just swipe right. They both matched.
Yeah, they've both matched. They've gone on one date, and Degster is head over heels. Like he's not explored other options. He's just gone with his instincts here.
Nah,
I totally want to agree with that because it
Yeah.
feels so early. Like to literally just played like one good. I guess he played a good event. I don't get me wrong, but I found it so hilarious that at Blast they're like, no, mantuu, he's not gonna get replaced. 3 weeks later, mantuu gets booted. It just doesn't. It just feels like way too early for OG to jump on this, even though, I mean, it's branding, it's a good player. I mean, sure.
It's a good move. Like, it's a.
What does that say about mantuu?
It sucks for mantuu.
I don't know. He wasn't even
Oh,
playing
it's-
bad.
Was it COVID that put him out?
I think it was.
It might have
IEM
been.
Dallas?
But
I'm
like,
actually-
I'm trying to think.
But-
He was playing well. Like we're all in agreement
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't sit out because like, oh, we're testing something new.
I think it was
Like
COVID.
something must have happened. Like I mean, you could say unlucky, but like I want to think like, was he just like a dick? Did he just give everybody the finger? I like, was he just that bad of a teammate? Like in comms?
I think it was. He got COVID. Let's try Degster. Look what he did on Spirit. Holy shit, we went this far. Fuck it, we gotta sign this motherfucker because he's that damn good.
He's that
Sorry,
damn good.
mantuu.
Yeah, he's that
Yeah.
damn good, and he gives like really good energy. Like
I'm
when
like,
you guys
yeah.
watch,
He
like
gives so much hype.
Yeah.
Sorry, mantuu, you are good. You find a team, but
Mhm.
if I had to get Degster, I would get this guy because he's top 5 in the opera wise.
Yeah, Dexter's
I don't
got good business prowess. He's got firm handshakes and really strong high fives.
Have you
Like,
seen him
oh, yeah,
shade?
those
Have you seen
slaps.
yeah,
them shades? They look freaking fire.
yeah.
What's next for mantuu?
NA baby.
Oh my
Why
God,
Is that
here-
the answer to everything?
Why am I on this podcast? Everything is NA this, NA that.
We
We're
gotta
all
save NA.
we're
We
on
gotta save
fumes
NA.
here.
Where would he go in EU though? Like honestly, I can see one
Um,
team I want to see, but I don't think they're gonna do it.
What
Let's
team?
see it.
Ents. But I don't think they're gonna do it because I think Ents is gonna keep the core.
Yeah, I think,
I
I
Yeah,
think
fine.
Hades is fine.
or hate.
Yeah,
Why would
but
ends change anything right
I don't
now?
know because I don't know if they're ever gonna win anything.
That's true. I don't
Yeah.
see Ents as a team that's gonna win something.
Yeah, that's my take on Ents. Like they
I
always
feel
get
like
to
they're
the
the TSM
semis,
of old.
get the semis, never win. Always make playoffs and never win. That's my take on them. But like, where else would he go?
Stream.
I don't know.
Time for him to go back to the
Content
German
ends.
scene. And
Evil
some Sprout.
genius. Yeah, that'll
Sprout.
Sprout.
Oh man.
Sprout make a roster change every 3 weeks.
We're just gonna make an NA roster over here with all EU players. Like what the fuck?
I mean, that was old complexity, no?
Was it?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
with
Limerick
Rush.
and Cold and
Yeah, stupid.
Like
He's not.
I think
he's not.
I think
EU.
mantuu's like it's sad that he went off OG, but I think he has an opportunity to get signed somewhere.
Oh yeah, he's still a good opper.
the difficulty that he has is that first off, he wasn't really an AWPer ahead of his signing. Like he'd been AWPing for
Mhm.
a short period of time, I think, before he joined OG, and he was like really molded to be the AWPer that OG needed under the Aleksib system. So first off, he came from rifling. I think that's a pretty big positive for him, is that he's not just dead weight when it comes to rifling. And I do wonder whether he'll re-explore that, because maybe it won't just it just might not hit the same AWPing under any other in-game leader. Like the system would have been developed to allow a certain amount of leeway for mantuu, where other systems may not allow that kind of space. Like I'd even compare it to the likes of ROPS from MOUZ to ROPS with FaZe. After Carrigan left, it felt like ROPS was a little lost in certain areas, or he was trying too hard to like combat the system that was trying to be developed. And when he goes to join FaZe, like he's given that amount of room because he knows that's what Carrigan can do for him, you know. So I could even see him rifling, is what I'm trying to say here for mantuu, because I think there can be that sort of I'm missing you element to the relationships that you form in teams.
Before we move on, the OG lineup, how would you guys rank it? Can they push actually like winning stuff of this lineup?
I think so.
Yeah, with degster on this team.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like it a lot.
You got the young
I think
stars and Neofrag and Fiku on the rise, and Flames he's really good at entering. So
I feel like they're Ents 2.0,
Yeah.
Here's
which
what we
is
can do.
not going to be winning anything.
It's
We
a little
can-
bit less heartfelt than Ents. I think Ents was a bit more of a passion project than OG is really. Like this feels a little bit Frankenstein-y.
Yes.
They have got, I think, a higher ceiling.
Let's move on
You
to the next-
could take mantuu Valde Nico, Nikadas Zyph, or not Nikadas, Hooksy Zyphin.
Let me get the team right there.
Like a bunch of these teams are just building budget phases. Like, come on.
OG bench warmers, baby.
All
It's
right.
like, hey, they took one Lego brick out. Let's just try and combine them.
All right, let's move on. The external fire, aka Space Shoulders 2.0.
Yeah.
They literally added pause.
I have a very hot, not
Okay.
even hot. Sorry, not a hot take, but a fervently angry take. Why would you kick xFloud, the one good role player on the team, who in my opinion, would value higher than Woxic on this squad? They booted him. I would work with him to try and develop him.
Mhm.
I mean, he's been on the lineup for a year, but even then, the eye test for this player, watching him play in a lot of, I mean, he is a great clutcher. He is a great defending side anchor. He is a great lurk. I know the stats. You look him up and you say, oh, just a 1.0 rating. This guy is the glue of his team, and I feel like Eternal Fire are just selling out with this move.
Making Space Soldiers again.
Yeah. I mean, well, Space Soldiers it's just Space Soldiers, but 4 years later. So
Yeah.
I think the funny thing is that like you considered that Eternal Fire have changed their leadership, what, 3 times? 4 times maybe even since the formation of the roster. And hey, xFloud, you have the least amount of clout out of any of these guys. Like especially after they kick Calyx, like you are the punching bag, you are the scapegoat here. So it's like you're just on the lowest end of the chopping
I
block.
think
so
the
you have to
Calyx
go.
kick was okay. Genuinely said. I think the
Yeah.
Calyx kick was
Didn't he
fine. I think
leave?
I stand by every part of the Envy project, all the components, all of that old Envy. They're all just like there's something wrong with them now.
I know.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened. There's like a new strain of infection going on, but that Envy roster, every piece has just been cursed.
Yeah. Who was it? That was like Thomas, Calyx, Nifty, Legia,
That was a weird roster.
And then Scissor or something, right?
and
Like, go backwards.
Mihu.
As well,
Mihu.
yeah.
It was Mihu, yeah.
Cutler is what I'm thinking, but that was a different lineup.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. They honestly are cursed. But like, Calyx just never performed on to the extent that we saw him. Like he was a god on Envy, if people remember that.
But the part I wanted to sort of highlight is that like you have xFloud as this role player. I agree with you. Like he does a lot of these things correct, and he has to deal with that change in leadership consistently throughout. As a player with like the least amount of experience, he's still holding at least his baseline while all of this is happening. And he's come off of like a hand injury, I think, as well. Like he was a missing piece. After he got injured, he came back. The team started performing well again. So now it's just like, I don't know what to say. Eternal Fire was a bit of a disappointment at the start.
Yeah. When I saw this news, I was bro momenting. So, anyways, I'll leave it at that.
I don't think they go anywhere. Like,
nope. Oh no, they're gonna be worse. They're going back to top 50. That's my opinion.
That's my take too.
Yeah, unless Tyrus and Woxic are like dropping like 40 a game. Like they just kicked like.
Tyrus is already dropping 40 a game, and they can't win.
That's why he said and Woxic. Come on,
and you're asking Woxic to drop 40 in this day and age, in this economy. Are you kidding me?
But yeah, this roster has changed IGLs like 3 to 4 times already, and now like they didn't have a real IGL till now. Like and Major just came back from Valorant, so who knows? You know, he's pulling.
I'm not I'm not hating so much on the team, but there are just some questionable things. I think some Turkish fans are certainly hyped to see Paz and Major back in.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just another last dance. And, well, it might have, that one-off result to make the fans believe. I don't think this roster is going to be doing
I'm maybe
much.
not as doom and gloom because I think that they have enough time ahead of ESL Pro League, which they qualified for through the conference stages. Like,
That
they
is
have
true.
enough time to show that they can make it work. And I don't think there are the excuses of, oh, hey, we've just made this new lineup, whatever. These people are coming back from Valorant. Like, you accepted all of these conditions ahead of this move. And for the heights as well, for Eternal Fire to get to ESL Pro League, you understood the consequences of this. So if they don't perform at that event, I think that's a very big indicator of where they're going to be, even like 6 months down the line.
Yeah.
I just feel sorry for XFlood.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get picked up though. He's a good player.
All right,
That's legit.
let's move on to the next. Other big news was amaNeK signing with LDLC.
Big L and W at the same time for amaNeK.
I'm not going to lie. I saw this on the list and I was just like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like,
I
okay.
don't know, I don't know why he went here.
I do not see...
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't
Wait.
have any other offers. I don't know.
Wait, that's their lineup?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, he's
know.
playing. I don't know who. I'm sorry if these players are gonna watch this podcast, but I don't know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
There's-
for... Oh, man. But I'm sorry.
This
Yeah,
is
we're-
very much
we are-
indicative of where the French scene is currently.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Oh
a
my.
lot of budding players that want the opportunity. LDLC have been reeling back their budget consistently from lineup to lineup. Like, they dropped that old Falcons roster and then they made moves and they're like competing against the other top French team, which is Heat. And LDLC don't have the funds to be able to make those moves. And like, I sympathize with them. Like, even if they wanted to make moves, they sign these contracts for pretty extended periods of time. And if they want to sign new players, like, I think the players are all comfortable enough with each other that they're going to say like, hey, this is the minimum that you should ask for. And LDLC are probably just like, my wallet is feeling a little light right now. So I think it's cool to see that they're developing talent, but this feels like amaNeK, experienced head that's been at the top for a little bit, for a decent amount of time, trying to like help them gain experience faster.
It's like, yeah, that's a perfect take.
I'm assuming they're bringing. It would be probably might work out if they bring another experienced player, right? Like Shax maybe.
I remember, what was it, like Kenny
Yeah.
S and amaNeK were both talking about making a team at one point. There was that article and all those rumors.
Yeah.
I want to
And-
also clarify. Sorry. I just also want to clarify. The reason we're laughing is because we literally saw a 8-player lineup. So that caught me off guard.
I'm with you, dude.
They've got 2 players trialing, and this isn't the final look. You know, this is the draft version of the LDLC lineup.
I mean, it's a cool move, but like, is this going to make a dent on the scene long term? Probably not.
Probably not. All right,
Maybe it's
so-
Taco
I
V2.
just feel bad for LDLC as an org where they used to be like major winners.
I know.
Way back in what 2014 or
Yep.
something, 2013, and now it's just like this roster. how far they've fallen.
Is there anything else to say about this, or before we move on? Because I don't think so.
Now hear me out.
Go right ahead.
Here's what LDLC could do. Right? You take amaNeK, you already got him, right? You just ditch everybody. Then who's sitting on the bench over in NA? Boom. Shocks. Now, who's sitting on the bench and looking for a team? Boom. Kenny S. Right? Now hear me out.
Dude, I'm telling you, they don't have the money
Snipe
for
body.
this. They just don't have the money.
He's
Snipe
making, he's
BK.
making French last dance.
Major winning roster, baby.
You know what's
Yeah.
funny? That team. Okay, besides Kenny S, get Maka. If they had Maka instead, that roster would not actually be bad. I'm just saying.
I just don't.
Yeah, bring back Happy from Valorant.
Yeah, there we go. Yay!
I don't know what he's doing. Is he? Still,
What
is
is
he
he?
a team on Valorant? I don't know. Did he get kicked? I don't know.
Who knows?
No, he's definitely not playing on any pro teams.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the finishing with the HAVU changes.
It's kind of sad.
Sorry, I kind of
Um,
spoiled this one as well earlier.
Yeah,
so.
we did. We brought it up.
I've got one hell of an idea. Aleksib B.
After the,
Why do I feel like it's gonna happen too? I
think
feel
it's gonna
like,
happen. I think it's gonna happen.
but it also is kind of sad because Slowy has played with HAVU literally his entire career.
Uh-huh.
I think he's had honestly like a pretty crazy storyline too, because I think he proved himself as being a very competent player internationally at the start of 2020 when HAVU had like a miniature streak at the start of 2020. they're like, yeah, maybe this team has hope. And then they've been consistently going through shuffles with old Finnish players. They've never really had success. Slowy's been there the entire time. This boy has seen it all. But now they're just making like massive changes, and they're just gonna gut the lineup and start from scratch. So
here's my take. This is what they're gonna do. Pick up Aleksib, pick up CeRq, and we have a Finnish last dance.
isn't CeRq doing military service right now or something like that?
I think he's done.
Well, Jesus.
Everyone's doing last dances. Man, that ESPN documentary on the Bulls did so much work.
I'm sure Aleksib would love to play with X7 and Aerial again, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
You know what would be cool? Because I swear I heard a rumor that like Yampi was considering coming back to Counterstrike.
Yeah,
like
I heard that. I think
that could be cool.
If that happens, yeah, you could definitely form a roster with him and Aleksib for sure, and Aerial and X7, and maybe his younger brother, Jimmy Fat, or how do you pronounce his name?
Fat?
Jim Pat.
Who's
was it Jim Pat? Okay.
Who's apparently insane. So
what about mantuu?
What?
It'd have to be an English-speaking team.
Finish. I mean, they could go all Finnish.
They could
sure,
go.
but,
They could go international. Yeah.
I don't know if Aerial and X
like Ents did.
Like, I mean, Aleksib and mantuu both have good connections, or both have connections with one another. Both have had some relatively good success together. And Valde. I mean, that could also, like, there's just a lot of worlds, and I think mantuu could be on one of them, because, like, this lineup.
And hey, there's Nico as well. There's Danish Nico. And then when OG finally released Flames, look at that. What a lineup, guys.
It's the one time never mind, bro. Never mind.
Sorry, dude. I've been just memeing this entire broadcast. Anyways.
So am I, but it's the one time I wasn't memeing.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the lineup, I mean, Aleksib coming back, I don't know how that history is going to pan out. It might go in a very, interesting way where they just pick up a bunch of Finnish youngsters, and try to work with that. But I mean, they've kind of already been doing that. I mean, it's an interesting spot that the Finnish scene is in. So I think all I think I really say is we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I swear Alu's already playing with a bunch of like prospect Finnish players anyway. So
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, he's playing with like Zori and somebody else in like advanced, I think. So
I remember seeing something about this lineup.
yeah, maybe just poach it, just like, hey, good job finding these people, Alu. We're not taking you back.
But we will take your friends.
But they even have Twista as their coach.
All I know is that if we're living in a world where Aleksib joins a Finnish roster, I don't think he's going to be fine with Alu on the team.
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think full nationality lineups can really make it in global Counter-Strike. And I'm not saying...
What are you talking about?
Nah, bro. I don't...
What are you talking... You're actually just dumb.
Movistar Riders.
Give me other examples.
Dude.
Not as Finzer.
No, they're not.
They speak the same language.
And... I'm saying, like, full just finished lineups. I don't think that's gonna work.
Well, no, that's not what you said. You said full nationality lineups are the only don't have what it takes to make it in global Counter-Strike. Those are your words, and we only literally just had our first major win under any international representation. So please, just like I don't understand the take. I don't understand the take.
Look. You've got a few teams like that. But I think if you're speaking for the future, fishing for players in your one region, I don't like the idea of it. I don't.
AnThran, you're just like playing like, Build-A-Bear with like international lineups, dude. Like fucking hell. Just like pick these players would do well together. Let me go ahead and, just mash them together. This will work.
I'm not saying they'll do well together. I'm just saying what I think is realistic. Like, I think it's realistic that mantuu could come in because he's got connections with some of the people.
AnThran is our Stephen A. Smith. Gives the hottest.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Look, y'all, it's about that time.
All right, let's move on. It's a small towards the last two topics before we close it off. Briefly, we'll talk about the new CIS project with Edward and bondik. forming up.
Ugh.
I'll just say this: it is a snore fest, but more developed CIS players, they're gonna win because CIS region is probably the strongest at the moment.
Talk about
Yeah, I think
last
that. I
fans.
think that.
Hey guys, hey guys, remember the last time Edward came up with a new project? Whoa, this
When was that?
like literally like mid 2020. You want to know how many how much
Exactly.
impact they had on the wider scene?
Why do you think you haven't heard about
Resident
it?
Sleeper.
Yeah, yeah, yes. I
Alright,
think
so-
bondik is a fine player, by the way. I think bondik actually has a chance to still play tier 2.
Man, that's a
I
lot.
think in
That's
gen-
a name
That's
I've heard
it.
in a while.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Listen, I think in general they're just going to be like a pretty solid sort of middling tier 2 team. Like,
Yeah.
do I think we're going to see like a spirit level performance?
No.
Probably not.
Pinnacle Cup Swiss, right there.
But it's just like you have to. I think I can appreciate like the idea. Like I always appreciate older guard going in with newer guard, and that's like
Yeah.
the idea of the project in the first place. So I don't know. I can appreciate that from like a development standpoint. Maybe they
Hold on,
even fall an academy.
I actually
level
have a
team.
question. Is this the same ISK that...
This is ISK from the UK scene.
This is ISK from the UK scene.
Yeah.
Maybe I fell asleep a little too early. This guy is actually really good.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Foster's
of him.
Foster's pretty sick as well. So ISK,
He was...
yeah. So as
Sorry.
far as I know, ISK only like fell out from his UK team into the breach
Uh-huh.
because of circumstances surrounding like his residency in Ukraine and like trying
I
to sort
see.
out getting the hours in was a little difficult during that period, and I think that's why things kind of fell off. But really talented player, almost consistently at the top, like a great AWPer. He did have a little bit of a toxicity problem once upon a time, but I think he's very much broken that stereotype. Like he's a good like he seems to be a good teammate, like from all optics pointing in. So
Like, I think they were always like with ISK, they were... ITV were a decent, at least contender team. I don't think they were... I mean, they were middling tier 2. He was a good player. I mean, he's gonna have to do some carrying. I think Fostar is decent as well. I mean, it's a lot of decent players.
Yeah.
I think bondik is gonna have to have like some sort of renaissance moment. And I don't have faith in Edward from when I saw him competing in...
Well, Edward's
this is, like-
34. Holy smokes.
Yeah, he was like competing in like mid 2020, like early 2021. I remember Selecta in 2020. That team did nothing. He's tried to like CPR a couple lineups together, and I don't have much faith. So I mean, I don't have faith in Edward's individual ability at the moment, and bondik's gonna need to. It's basically gonna revolve around bondik having solid performance. I don't think this team can just match up to what's at the top of tier 2 right now.
I mean, you've got to put some respect on the name Edward, though. Like this guy's been playing Counterstrike for 20 years.
I
Like,
do respect that.
Man,
I respect.
you
I
said
res-
the same damn thing about Glaive earlier. Come on, bro.
No, I mean you have to look at history and appreciate what they are. Like
Yeah.
at the very least, like
Respect for
understanding the
going at it.
position. Well, this is the thing. Like these older guard players are going to understand what it's like to be the guys that they're playing with as well. Like
Yeah.
he is going to appreciate the sort of feelings that they have when they're on the stage, when they're training, some of the tendencies that they'll develop as people or as professionals. So like not only does he know what it's like to be at the top, he also now knows what it's like to kind of grind out from the bottom, and this is another way in which they can do that. So like in the same way that I look at the LDLC roster, and I'll probably see it on HLTV every now and again. Maybe just check in on them every other month and just see how they're doing. It's one of those teams that's like they planted the seed. They just need to water it a little bit, and maybe they grow into a little bit of a stub. But at the very least, that they've grown into something new.
Maybe. I mean, he's
I
doing
mean,
something.
Didn't Get Right do the same thing?
Sorry?
Didn't Get Right do like the same thing?
Do what?
Like
Well-
where he made a new roster, him and Forrest and all them.
Well, with,
Well, that was
what,
Dignitas
Dig?
buying
Yeah.
the remnants of NIP.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it killed a little bit of his legacy. Like of him just continuing to try to keep grinding it out, keep making roster.
I think
changes,
most
never
people- I think-
worked.
I don't think
I think
anybody
most people
remembers
just
that.
Yeah, no one remembers it.
right?
I don't-
They just remember
like-
the 87-0.
Yeah. I mean, and you know how Get Right's a legendary player and all that. I don't
Yeah.
think they remembered even his time on Dignitas. Like,
True.
even that his time on Dignitas is like pretty short. I think it lasted maybe 6 months. Wasn't even like I don't even account that into his legacy when I think of Get Right. Like I think of everything different. So
it's so difficult as well to like appeal to people that are coming into our game for the first time, because from an optics point of view, like if you came in when they were doing that Dignitas project, that's all you would know Get Right as, unless you were told about it in advance or like
True.
it was brought up consistently. Whereas a lot of the older guard or people that have done their homework or have just been in the scene for a decent amount of time appreciate what was there once upon a time. Like there's a legacy that has been left.
yeah.
So it's just making sure that everybody appreciates where even Edward is coming from. So
I agree. I mean, I agree. Dude, he's given it is he's making an impact on the scene as well, bringing up the newer players. Like they might not do well, I'll tell you that, but who knows? Maybe in 3 years we'll see ISK at the top of CIS Counterstrike. So you never know when Simple retires to go ahead and become a full-time streamer. So
all right, guys. The last bit of news we have is it happened like yesterday, I believe. It's more EG news, yeah, more NA, with the rumor that CeRq is gonna get replaced.
was it CeRq?
Yeah, CeRq.
Like they're
I assume you're gonna pull up the tweet. Yeah,
there's who.
Be
What the
real
heck?
with you,
Yeah.
homie. I don't know what the hell KD is seeing.
I
I
don't-
feel like CeRq has been given chance after chance recently, and he just hasn't delivered.
I don't know if this is true or not, because
I don't know. It's all rumor. It's like quote unquote, this is a rumor.
KD came out of nowhere with this random tweet, even though like no news has come out of it so far.
Yeah.
I think what's more than likely is that they've had a dejected performance, they've had a talk, and Kaden has put this out to reaffirm what he's had in his conversation. Like I feel like he's just trying to be a good friend here.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I don't think this is like a leak or anything.
Yeah. I think realistically, like people have been kind of shitting on CeRq for a decent amount of time.
Yes.
Like ever since COVID hit, it's just like he hasn't been the same person at all. So you never know what the circumstances are like. He's a pretty reserved guy. He doesn't do a lot of public facing interviews. Doesn't really, I think, talk about his circumstances too much aside from like what happens in the server. But we've seen the heights, and I think that's where this angle is coming from. Like, I think CeRq has more to give, but I also feel like a change of scenery would probably be good for him.
I could see that, but like right now, at what it is, bare bones, like he's not performing. He's not.
Agree.
And I feel like that's been the story for so long, like years now. Obviously, as you said, he's been different since COVID, but like every time he's on LAN, I mean, he's got the occasional performances, like he's got the occasional moments. But when you look at EG as a unit, like that roster needs something. Like when I look at EG, I see like you've got amaNeK, who's coming back from Valorant. You've got Rush, who's a role player. You've got Breezy, who's, I'd say, a dance in between. You got Stewie, who hasn't been performing, and you've got CeRq, who hasn't been performing. Like, who is supposed to be the star on that roster? Like, who is supposed to be delivering? And you're supposed to point to CeRq. Like, you're supposed to use your Opper as that alibi, as that fallback. Like, oh, he's giving us numbers.
Hone alone.
So it's like, I think that's another reason why you just see him getting all of the shit. Because, I mean, at basic points, like, what you know about a roster is our Opper does that. Like, our Opper does this. He's really good. He performs. And CeRq doesn't. And when you've got everybody to point the finger at, I feel like most of them are going to go to CeRq just for that reason.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. Like CeRq, I think the team is just not built. Everyone knows the drama of Stewie, that stuff. I don't want to bring that into effect. But if they do roster changes, like the rumor was like Huxi or Nealon and Valde, like let's say they get Huxi and Valde over for Rush and Stewie. If that can make a resurgence for CeRq, like, oh shit, we got new pieces, he might start performing better.
I thought Huxi was packaging himself with Zyphon.
I'm just saying for example. I'm just saying for example.
Okay.
Like,
Hey, listen, man. Eventually, money speaks. Like,
yeah,
true.
Like, hey, we're gonna stick through it. Oh, you didn't get that offer? Oh,
well,
I already said yes.
Roy was like, "We're going to Fnatic. See you guys."
Yeah, just like see you guys later.
Like if like a little like change of new players in EG, like I can kind of see CeRq getting back, like getting resurgence, like a new lineup, new changes. it can click. Who knows?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but for the past
Yeah.
3 years, that's the
know.
word for CeRq. Like,
Yeah, I
any
know.
like that's like the analysis when like casters,
Chance.
when the casters and the analysts talk about EG, like, oh,
Mhm.
CeRq has so much potential, Breeze has so much potential. When are we gonna see it? If they play to their levels, we're gonna see EG back. That's like the storyline for EG for like the past 3 years.
I'm gonna state my cousin on here his hot take. He says Breeze has never been the same since the SG nerf, and from what I've seen, I think
Yeah,
that's
true.
kind of true.
Carried.
No, I don't. I think that's not.
He was
I
the
think
best
it's
SG
cap.
player. I think that's
He literally won his event outside of the SG meta.
I'm
Like
saying,
he won IEM. What was it?
that's
I-
New York.
Something Shanghai or something. Or
New
By the way,
York.
whatever happened to Oba?
Yeah, they went. Oh yeah, I know. I was actually thinking that this broadcast. That man is
Obo
is
has
off.
some mental health issues. I think somebody told me.
Oh,
Yep.
I loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah, as much as I will say like, oh hey, I think CeRq has more to give, he is also in like the position that you like have to get like a 1.1 rating on. Like you at a minimum. Like we are spoiled for really
What's the rating
good
now?
AWPers.
Mhm.
What's up?
What's his rating now? Just
Like 0.96, I think I just checked. Yeah, 0.97.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
this is
he's-
against NA teams, mind you.
Like he is in a position of heavy scrutiny because we have so many talented AWPers that exist in current game CS. So unfortunately for him, like as much as I do think like he does deserve chances, I just don't think competing like if the objective is to be competing at the top end, like you don't want CeRq. Like I think CeRq
Mhm.
needs to grind back again.
Do you think maybe
I
he's
would
just, like, not
argue
been
the same with
grinding as
Breeze.
much?
I'd argue the same with Breeze.
I feel like Breeze has more of a leniency though, because as you said, like we're spoiled for top offers,
Mhm.
where Breeze doesn't necessarily have to stare down that.
I think the
Also-
big difficulty for CeRq would be like if you wanted to go back to like the Bulgarian scene, like the most competitive team is like Fiend, and their AWPer is fine. So, like, where would you? You'd have to build something new, and that
And would you
takes
even
time.
out him?
Yeah,
Wait. Fiend? Do you mean Skade?
I swear it's Fiend.
There's 2 Bulgarian
There's
rosters, right? Skate and somebody else. I can't remember. Unless they broke up.
Fiend.
Fiend disband, somebody said in chat.
Fiend
Oh,
Fiend is
yeah.
dead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
Fiend
did,
is
they
dead.
did.
Fiend is long dead. And like and then Skade reassembled
Skade,
them.
yes,
and
okay.
then there's a really small one called Kick, but really doesn't.
And wasn't Harn the Oper?
Yeah, where actually Harn was
What
signed.
happened to
Oh wait, Harn just got signed to some team. I forgot. He got signed to Enterprise, who are competing in a bunch of challenger league basically.
Yeah, he's an enterprise.
Yeah, he's a talented opper, so good luck to that guy. But what I will say is, what is it with NA and just like turning players into husks, man? like CeRq, he's actually just a shell of his former self. Junior, just a shell of his former self. Fang, I'm not sure how many of people watched him when he was in NA, but that man is a shell of his former self.
Honestly, if you want to change your pace, why don't you swap out Junior and CeRq?
No.
Wait,
No.
swap them on
Sorry.
Yeah.
both teams?
Swap lineups,
No,
yeah.
please, no,
No,
I
No,
can only handle so
no.
many of your bad takes, bro.
Yes.
Look, I'll keep
He's-
it real. I
he's either
don't
Stephen
think
A.
Junior was that great in the first place.
I
Sue me.
gave Junior a lot of leeway. I just seeing him make the same mistakes is like left a sour taste in my mouth. I'm sure he works hard. Well, okay, maybe I'm not, but I know as a professional, like he has the capability to do it, but it feels like there's like a either
There's
it's
just
a
a
work ethic
block.
thing or it's something to do with the pressure of game environments, but something is missing, man. Like he goes from like shitting on people in like a mixed team to then going into a bit more structure, and he's shitting the bed instead. It's heartbreaking because it felt like he had the capacity to do it, where OC just overtook him immediately because he didn't make those same mistakes. Like he was a bit more of like a systems based operator. He was a bit more methodical with his
He's a
thought
JT
process, I felt
offer.
like. Yeah, it felt like it made more sense. Whereas Junior was like a little bit more unpredictable. Like I get that's his play style, but there has to be something that gives. You know, you can't let your ego
Impatience?
dictate everything.
I think
Not even that.
Go ahead, continue.
I mean, I think we're kind of delving into like the junior question as well as like in CeRq. And I think the biggest thing is it's not even like junior's in bad positions or he's being misutilized. There's just straight up just, pound for pound, not fragging and like just missing shots that and like an opera at his level needs to be hitting. It feels like a Farley moment as well. Like what is it with all these operas that are just shells of their former selves? I remember we were talking about Farley earlier on in this podcast, but I remember when Farley was on Copenhagen Flames, I in my opinion, a much looser team back in early to mid 2020. He was annihilating fools. He was just running around the map and having a field day. That was Junior on Triumph. That was if we want to harken back to that time, maybe just some operas don't work well under systems when they have to be micromanaged and all that. Maybe they just want to work on their own and do it op in the that brings up a quote from Junior, but op in the way that the opera thinks they need to be.
What if have you ever heard the take that like not like operas nowadays are just flashy?
Maybe.
I could see that being Junior's problem. Like, especially when it comes to like the lower tiers of NA. And again, I don't mean to shit on my own region, but it's like it's going to be a lot easier to make those star plays. Like, especially when you're talented, like Junior is and was. So when you go under a system, you're going to be placed in spots to have more and easier success. And there's a lot of operas that just struggle doing that. Like, I feel like we're at a vacancy for, well, he says we're spoiled with operas. At the same time, I think we're at a vacancy of consistent operas that can hit those easy shots, that can deliver on the kills that they are positioned to get.
Well, and the one guy who was a consistent offer, his name is Josh Ohm, aka OC, and he's been signed to Team Liquid. So we got one.
Maybe it's Mantuu's time to shine.
All right, guys. Before we close it off, a couple questions for you guys. Since the player break's happening, what events you guys gonna be working on? You can start from Yumi.
My calendar is pretty open as far as I know. Maybe doing some ESL Challenger League. I'm still a little unsure. Kind of in a bit of a shift between what roles I do. I want to do desk work, but I also I'm trying to like work with more people. So it's a bit up in the air for me.
And player breaks all gonna be good. And do you do Valorant at all? Do you like Valorant?
No, stop asking everyone if they do Valorant.
But you do, right, Vi?
Yeah, I do.
Hold up.
I do. Okay.
What the hell are you talking about for?
I'm asking Yumi here. Do you like cast Valorant and shit like that?
I have casted it once. I did enjoy my time, but I casted it in the early stages of the game. I think as updates keep coming out, as new agents come out, I don't think Riot are going to engage in the right philosophy to make the esports successful.
Yeah, that's what I believe too. I feel
that gets one thumbs up from the FI.
All right, AnThran.
Yo,
like, what event? No, I'm not gonna say Valorant. I know your take on that.
No. I'm gonna start our little section off with a question for you. Can you spin your microphone 180 degrees?
I will do that after. Now, your question.
He's like Cadian. Remember how Cadian played with his headphones backwards or something?
Backwards? Yeah. His in-ears backwards.
Let me talk with my microphone backwards. Like, what?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, guys.
But
here, Son, I'm gonna interview you. Look at this.
Right
look at what stream looks like.
All right ahead. Oh, but what events are you gonna be doing?
Other than a couple that are coming up, actually, no, I think I already did what I had. My calendar's completely open. Again, like, that's usually the life of a caster in the off-season, I feel.
Yeah. And I know your take on Valorant, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, the other game I play is Smash, which is Pog.
Dude, you'd be a banger Smash caster.
Hell no, I wouldn't. I hopped on the mic before. Let me tell you, I have never lived that shit down. First time I hopped on the mic, I said, a nice F smash from Joker here. Guess what? The guy playing Joker, that's not F smash. That's dash attack. I ain't lived that shit down yet.
All right.
Look, it's all about the bounce back. Anyways, from my end, what I'm doing during a player break, I am fragging with Frag and Elfia for a good chunk of it. I don't know what necessarily is going to be happening, but that is expectation. What else? I mean, I'm pretty open. I'm in a limbo where I'm trying to do more content here on CS Out Here specifically. I'm more or less a weekly guest. I'm not even like a guest at this rate.
Fine,
I'm
bro.
bringing
You
my-
gotta bring that mic back in.
I'm bringing this one back. Okay, but I'm more or less like a weekly guest here. I'm doing Philadelphia stuff. A little bit of Nerd Street's Valorant championship, or summer championships that they're running. But mostly for myself, I have a pretty wide open schedule come, into the player break and after the player break. I'm starting a little bit of a podcast with Dat Paladin that actually airs tomorrow. If that
Whoa,
is
the promo.
Is it
Come
live?
on.
Is it
Sorry.
live? No. We love
Killing.
Paladin here. Is it live?
Yeah. Yeah, it will be live at
cool,
5
cool.
excuse me, 7 Central. So,
All
hey,
right.
same time as this one.
We'll check it out. When you say you cast Valorant, like Yumi was saying earlier, like you have to like be caught up with like all their updates. Like,
Of course.
Do you play the game then?
I play both games.
Okay.
On the side. Like I don't play like one game religiously over the other or
Yeah.
anything. Like I sometimes, I dabble in Valorant. And I spend a day playing Valorant, I spend a day playing CS. But I will tell you this, I 100% enjoy watching CS far more
yeah.
than watching Valorant.
Yeah, I tried watching Valorant like official match, and it's just like there's so much going on.
There's just
The theory crafting in that game is marvelous. Like,
Yeah, I know. You can
construct
nerd
so much. I know.
You can nerd out about the game so much. And so I think some talent knocked that out of the park. Shout outs to @AEvilCat. But so you can nerd out about that game so much, but at the same time, play-by-play segments, it's hard to find the narrative and to get incredibly excited about one thing over the other. Comparatively, to like remember, if you ever want to seen the Twist 4K or 3K from the mini drop, basically that just happened today. Like everyone in the crowd knows what an impactful kill, looks like, right? And when they see him drop, everyone in the crowd erupts when he finds the first, and then drops in a mini, and then the whole site's open, and the crowd realizes that it's game over, right? It feels like it's so difficult to follow that in Valorant. So that's why I just feel like it's a better CS is far better viewing experience. But anyways, long tangent over. That's what I'm doing during the player break.
I got one more question for you. You recently tweeted, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're going full time in esports. Like, are you like backing out of school? Like, tell us more about that.
So, so I'm not backing out of school.
Okay.
Education is important. But I did get accepted to UCI, pretty Irvine, University of California, Irvine, and at least thank you. But I denied their offer. And the reason being is because I'd have to move. I'd be grounded in essence. I'd have to, find an apartment complex close to Irvine. Admittedly, I mean, sure, it's an hour drive away. It's still close to home, but I can't travel. Nor can I cast out of a dorm because, noise complaints. Schedule would be ruined. And, in esports, I'm telling AnThran and Yumi know this, you have to have the most open schedule you possibly can. You have to take what you can get.
Yeah.
So for myself, I had a different offer. And that is at Arizona State University's Honors College, where I accepted their offer and transitioned into online college. So I'm still pursuing a bachelor's degree in mass communications and media studies, but at a different school in a more flexible schedule. So yeah, I mean, I do intend to pursue commentary full time.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
What's funny is that when you say casters, you3 have to open schedule, is like I'll be waking up at like 7 a.m. and I turn on my Twitch and like random like tier 3 game. I see like AnThran or Yumi or one of you guys like casting it. Like it doesn't matter like what time, you guys will like you guys take the gig, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So
I love doing Asia region. I love doing South America. Like those are not where I live.
Respect. So do you guys' sleep schedule get messed up then?
Oh, heavy.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes. There's some times where you spend a week waking up at like 3-4 a.m. It's I won't say it's like enjoyable, but it's not like unbearable. We enjoy doing what we do.
Yeah, it's sick.
I think
So-
that's all the questions I had. Any last comments from you all?
No, this was a fun. I think during the first part of the podcast, I was kind of like, out of it a little bit, but I think we
You
all
were
warmed
out
up.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were. You're half
yeah.
asleep.
I was. I was casting earlier today.
yeah. Long day.
But I got a little energized. I started talking about news. I had opinions and all
you had
that
to
good
wait
stuff.
for
So
AnThran's hot takes that got you in.
yeah, I had, and then that broke me out of my slumber.
Yeah.
So
Insert funny one-liner here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a long one. It's good.
Yeah.
Boys, before we close out, we know that Phi, you gotta close us out.
I'm not going to make this one too long, but thank you guys for watching from wherever you are. It's a whole 2.5 hour podcast. So if you got to the end, shout outs to that, and shout outs to all the guests who showed up on the show. Malbs, who isn't here at the moment, but AnThran and YouM3 for providing, some awful hot takes and some great insight. So greatly appreciated for them joining us on the show. So with that in mind, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been CS Out Here podcast number 6, and we'll see you guys for number 7. Peace.